Alrighty, bow hunters, welcome back to another episode. Lucky enough to be joined again by Mr. Ben Salleras. Welcome, mate. Thank you for coming back.
My pleasure, mate.
Didn't scare
Thanks
you
for
off
having me.
last time.
No, never. Never.
That's good. We actually we just chatted for an hour before we even started. Just catching up has been great.
Yeah, well, that possibly was an opportunity missed there because we probably had quite interesting chat there. Like, there's sort of great topics covered, and we probably solved a lot of the world's problems.
We
In
did.
that first,
Never to be
first
heard again, unfortunately.
yeah, and possibly for the best.
Yeah.
That's what you look at it.
Oh, I'll say that they'll all miss out. That's the problem. All right, so I mean, I wanted to get you back on because you've actually overcome like a massive feat in regards to South Pacific and what we have available here. And there's only been, I believe you said two others that have done it before with the South Pacific Slam, which is you're going to need to actually educate me on this in regards to the animals that are included in it, because is it just Australia, New Zealand animals? Is that what it's encompassing of essentially?
Well, couple of things there. I like the I'm a bit of a nerd, I guess, at heart. So I like to look at things fairly scientifically or fairly formally in a way, I guess. And my first comment would be that there is actually no formal classification when it comes to the South Pacific Slam.
Yeah, I went
begin with.
searching for it. I was like,
Yeah, so
research and couldn't find anything.
so, and this is probably an important little bit of this is probably an important bit of sort of content to cover, and it's probably a good moment to do it. In my opinion, there is no formal definition of the South Pacific Slam.
Mm-hmm.
What we do have is we have there is this strange kind of it's actually an organization. It's not a separate kind of part of STI. It's actually a separate organization, but there's an organization called the Malik Society, which presents an award called the Malik Award, MALEK, every year, which is in recognition of taking what's called the South Pacific 15.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a term that gets thrown around a fair bit. The South Pacific 15 are 15 big game species from the South Pacific that have someone at some point has determined that is like the, in inverted commas, slam of the South Pacific.
Yeah.
There are other animals outside of that list of 15 that have horns or have antlers or have some kind of trophy or have some kind of measurable trophy, I guess, that I think should be considered as a big game animal in the South Pacific. If you want me to, I'll quickly list out that 15.
So go for it.
So that's the 6 species that we have in Australia, and I'm sure everyone would know what they are.
Deer species. Yeah.
6 deer species we have. The additional deer species in New Zealand are the whitetail, the wapiti, and the sika.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 3 deer that we don't have. That takes it up to 9. You've got the 2 capra species that are, I guess, mountain game species, which is the Tahr and the chamois.
Chamois, yeah.
That takes it up to 11. And then you've got the boar and the goat, 13. And we'll all agree that, the boar and the goat are probably the 2 most kind of bread and butter species that we have across New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah.
And then to make up the 15, they include the bantang and the buffalo.
That's cool.
2 of the 3 bovines that we have in the South Pacific. What's not included in that list that we would all be familiar with, or most of us will be familiar with, is the scrub bull, which to me is
up there.
Should
be nice.
Yeah, it should be a recognized species in that list, in my opinion. We don't have the camel, the brumby, the donkey, any small game. So small game to me
Fox,
includes
cats, dogs. Yeah.
Dogs, exactly like you just said. It doesn't include the Arapora ram or any kind of wild sheep. We do have some wild sheep in Australia and definitely quite a lot in New Zealand.
What's what I was about to ask, even does Asia fall into the South Pacific at all?
No, the South Pacific, there'd be a definition for it somewhere, like that's beyond me, but I would call the South Pacific basically PNG, Australia, Cal, New Zealand, um, and the Pacific nations that are in our part of the world, like
Yeah.
um, Tonga, not Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii definitely being in the North Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to me, it's basically there's a line drawn in the sand somewhere between PNG and Indonesia, which would be Southeast Asia or technically part of Asia. But yeah, certainly PNG, Australia, and New Zealand would be your main components, and New Cali you could throw in there as well. They have plenty of rooster deer over there.
Yeah, they've got. Do they have two? They have both.
No, just
It's
Jarbans as far as I know.
okay.
Just good Jarbans, yeah. But what I'm getting to is there is one, like, when we break it down, there's one organization that defines the South Pacific 15.
Mm-hmm.
The major international hunting organizations such as SCI and GSCO and whoever else, even the Australian organizations, don't recognize a South Pacific slam.
Why do you think that is?
So I don't think anyone's just got their shit together enough to do it.
Yeah, I'd wondered that if it's just we don't have enough of a population around it, like enough organizations around it, like enough. Like you look in America in regards to their different slams that they've got. They've got so many foundations and organizations that are helping to push that stuff. I feel like it's just they've got the numbers for it.
Yeah, and like it's a conversation in itself. Is what is the what is it about a slam or a collection or whatever? Like, what is it about completing the set of something that makes it attractive? And I've wondered about this myself. Like, there is something in our makeup as humans that makes us want to complete a set.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, I went through stages. I went through a lot of stages of collecting things when I was a kid. I was always a collector. I collected old bottles. As a young kid, I was obsessed with old bottles, and there's no complete set when it comes to old bottles. You just the endless. You never get to the end, but that fascinated me. And I collected stamps for a certain period of time, and I guess later in life, like I guess in primary school, I collected basketball cards, and you might not quite be old enough to remember what that was like when they were big, but with basketball cards, there were certain sets that, like, I guess you aimed towards completing that set.
Yeah.
With hunting, that's a really big thing in North America, and in certain realms of the hunting community, there are these slams or these sets of species or sets of animals that, I guess, are used as, like a goal. They're essentially a goal, like a goal to reach that milestone. And we don't see it as much in Australia, but we do see it a little bit. And as far as I know, only two bow hunters have taken, as far as I'm concerned, the full set of species in the South Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And
who's that? Macca and you?
No, Macca and Paulie Southwell. And they both did it in the same year, actually. And
the same year, meaning they did all species in the same year?
No, they both got to that milestone. So they both
the same year. Yeah, okay.
Same year, yeah.
I was going to say, Jesus, they just hunt for a whole year.
No. My memory's pretty shit at the best of times, but I'm sure it was 2019.
I think it is because it's right when I was getting into it. I believe I remember hearing something about it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was that year. And I distinctly remember they both did it fairly close together. I think there was only a matter of, like, I think it was less than a month, actually, from memory. It was less than 4 weeks, the difference between Paulie getting his final species, which was the whitetail, and Mac getting his, which was the Wapiti.
Oh, wow.
From memory, and I hope I'm not wrong, because I'd kill myself if I was wrong on that. But I'm sure that that's how it happened. Yeah, and yeah, like there may be other cases, but certainly I'm not aware of them, and yeah, no one else that I know is.
I never collected basketball cards, but I did collect Pokemon cards. And at some point, I got a Charizard, and it was one of the like original Charizards, proper holographic and everything. It wasn't in great quality. But if you know anything about Pokemon cards, they're now worth, that card in particular is worth like 150 USD. 150,000. And I just left them in Toowoomba in a box in my mum's house. And so I've moved out, been living out for ages. She's moved houses. And when I find out how much they're worth, I called Mum. I'm like, Mum, give my old stuff. Like, please tell me you got something. She's like, no, I got rid of it all. I asked you if you wanted it, and you said throw it. I'm like, you're probably right. But yeah, it's definitely the Charizard card getting around the landfill somewhere. It's probably worth 100K, 150K.
And I just caught the back end of Pokemon. Like I was just at an age where that was coming in, as I was probably of an age where I was too old to be dealing with it. Yeah, just on the back end of it, sort of thing. But I can clearly remember the catchphrase of Pokemon was "got to catch them all."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is that right? Am I right?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yeah.
So there's something about that, isn't there?
It is, yeah.
Catch them all.
I mean, like, even coming into hunting for me, bow hunting, I was like 6 deer species in Australia. That's my goal. I'm going for it. Like, it doesn't have to be straight away, but that's like an eventual piece, and it's always been in the back of my head.
See, when I was a young bow hunter, and already bow hunting had become my entire fucking world, like around me. It wasn't just like, oh, welcome to bow hunting. Oh, you can do this and you can do that. Like, bow hunting was already completely my entire world. I didn't know that there was anything, like, I didn't even conceptualize that there was anything more than pigs to hunt.
Yeah.
So my whole world was pigs.
Yeah.
Rabbits and foxes and deer and goats might as well have been on another planet. They might as well have been on Mars, because my world was just, pigs. And there was nothing else that was even on the agenda. And your world, I guess, slowly changes with you as you develop. And my version of got to catch them all has changed from like, I've got to catch all the pigs to like, oh, I've got to catch all the pigs, and maybe one day I'll catch a goat, and maybe one day I'll catch a rabbit too, and maybe I'll catch a fox one day. And it just
kept going.
The snowball just grows from there. And
you would be probably one of Australia's most traveled hunters in a sense, right? You'd be up there within the top 5, I would think.
Oh, I don't know, mate, because there's no way of
actually evaluating it as
no
such. But you're definitely the person in regards to like, there's definitely a few people I think of that come to mind straight away. But in regards to people who've traveled for bow hunting and traveled different parts of the world, I'd say you'd be right up there.
Oh, for bow hunting in Australia?
Yeah, like for traveling bow hunters.
No one would have. No one would have. Yeah, no one would have. In terms of like the countries covered and the areas covered, no one would have done. No one would have been to the same diversity of places.
No, that's I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah,
no, not yet. Anyway, hopefully there's people listening to your podcast that are going to smoke me.
You know what's really cool to me is like the amount of people that Bulgaria is on their radar now. Like the path that you laid, and that now has happened time and time again, year after year. The amount of people that are like, Bulgaria, I want to go to Bulgaria. I want to see their fallow deer. Like that's something that comes up a lot, just in conversations I have, but also even on the podcast. Like the other day I did a podcast with Logan Hawker, and he said the exact same thing. He's like, yeah, I want to go up to Bulgaria and check out the fallow. I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good example of how, that's a good example. Like, at its most basic form, that's basically a good indication of popular culture it's kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
So people have heard about it and heard enough about it to go, oh, that must be good, and it's entered their
Realm.
thoughts, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in 2017, for example, no one was talking about it at all. Yeah, because it just was not even on the not even slightly on the radar as a bow hunting destination, not even as a hunting destination. No, it was not even. There was not even you wouldn't even see it mentioned in an advertisement, or it was just completely unheard of. And yeah, there's good quality hunting to be had there, but there's lots of other countries in Europe and around the world where there's good quality hunting to be had. There's plenty of different spots like Bulgaria where there is magic to involve yourself in and to observe.
I feel like all through Europe,
in my
right?
opinion.
It'd just be covered in it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a little bit, yeah. Bulgaria is not some special magical place where like world record fallow deer just land on your lap. Like that happened to me, yes. But it's not it's no matter where you go in the world, like you've still got to work. And I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
100%.
I think that's what I think that's what some of us forget to realize sometimes is that when you book a hunt, or when you organize a hunt, I should say, not book a hunt because we don't all book hunts. When you organize a hunt, no matter where it is in the world, in Australia or any country in the world, it's going to be fucking hard.
I think what's funny is the times where I think it's going to be easier is the time that I get my ass absolutely handed to me. It's like if that thought ever enters my mind of like, this is going to be such a cruisy weekend, like during the rut, you're like, oh yeah, it's going to be so much easier because they're going to come straight to you, and then it never fucking happens.
Yeah, but if anything was easy, you would have probably got bored of it pretty quickly.
Oh, definitely.
Something else. Yeah. You would have gone, nah, this isn't for me. Let's try something else. And I think I think that there are so many. I don't think people should think that Bulgaria is like some I think it's special. My opinion is that it's special compared to the other countries where bow hunting is legal in Europe, because I've got a fair understanding of what's going on in Europe. But I don't think people should kid themselves into thinking that you're just going to go over there and shoot a 300 Douglas point fallow buck, because that's just not how it works anywhere in the world. Free range, and every single location in the world comes with its own inherent challenges. And you're either built to deal with that or you're not. And if you're not, you'll soon find out about it, and you'll soon realize that's not. And I think in a lot of cases, some people aren't just not built to deal with hard things.
Definitely. Their risk tolerances aren't high.
Yeah. Some people want what's the easiest to gain and what's the quickest to gain.
Yeah.
What's the easiest pathway to getting this result that I can then show the world and go, oh, look what I did. But I think there's not many cases like that in bow hunting. There's like most tangible results that you can come up with in bow hunting, you've got to fucking work for. There's not too many shortcuts. And if there are shortcuts, well, it'll soon be known about, and soon well about it.
It'll be the Bulgaria. 8 years to infiltrate, and it'll be there. We'll all know it. We all retire.
But yeah, mate. Going back to the original question, so there's like, and I don't want to sound like too much of a nerd, but like being a nerd, like putting my nerd cap on, there is one group that formally recognizes what's called the South Pacific 15. There is no group that recognizes the South Pacific Slam. There is certainly no group that recognizes the South Pacific Grand Slam, because the Grand Slam, when you put that word grand in there, that only applies to the Grand Slam, which is the 4 North American wild sheep.
Yeah.
if you want to talk about slams, it's just a slam. It's not a grand slam. There's only one grand slam, and the grand slam is the 4 North American sheep, and there's nothing else.
Let me bring this up because this is the
I
Mallet.
often see people using that word, and I fucking hate it because there is only one grand slam. There's lots of different slams, and you can make up whatever slam you want, in my opinion, but there's only one grand slam, and that is the taking of the 4 North American sheep.
Yeah. Because look at this, the Malek South Pacific Grand Slam Award.
There you go. See, that pisses me off, right? See, even an organization is using that terminology, and that fucking pisses me off.
That's right there. Yeah, it's throughout this whole page.
Yeah, well, that's where we get it from, because even they're getting it wrong, in my opinion. That's not the right terminology. But anyway, good for them. Good for yeah. But yeah, so I think at the end of the day, we all have as it stands at the moment, we all have the ability to define our own personal slam, and that's the way I see it at the moment. Is whatever you see as the Australian slam, whatever you see as the South Pacific slam, well, that's your own personal
endeavor to go off.
Your own personal pursuit, yeah. It's not going to be compared to anyone else, because there is no way to do so. There's no actual method to do so. So any slam that you go for is your own. It's your own personal pursuit.
I think what I really liked was what you were talking about when all you knew was pigs. Like that childlike approach to hunting. That's I think it almost gets lost pretty quickly. And keeping that about it, having that fun aspect to it of like every animal is a new exciting thing. Like it doesn't matter if it's a big or a small animal, you see it, you're like, fuck, there's another animal, like it's another pig. That's great. Like keeping that aspect to it and keeping it light and fun the way that it probably should be. I feel like that will help people to almost enjoy it more, right? Rather than the extra pressure that you put on yourself to go and, I got to get the biggest antlers. I got to get the biggest horns.
Well, can I tell you something? And this goes from my own personal experience, but more importantly, my experience of watching older fellas who are far more who have been bow hunting for far longer than me. What I've seen so far is that doesn't go away.
Yeah, awesome.
That like I have, like Dave Whiting is a classic example. Like the amount of excitement that I still see him get drawing his bow on a rabbit, tells me everything that I need to know about what we're talking about right now. It tells me everything I need to know. If Dave Whiting is still getting excited about drawing his bow on a rabbit, and as I do, I get more fucking adrenaline out of drawing a bow back on a rabbit than a fucking ibex these days, because I've probably shot less rabbits than ibexes. That's all the information I needed to know. And it's all information that anyone else should need to know, that what you just mentioned is a given. We are going to this appreciation of bow hunting, regardless of the apparent kind of grandeur of that species, or how important that species might be to you or to your mates or whatever. Like that is something I have seen, and I know will still be the case. I've seen enough of that to know that will still be the case when I'm dead. I know that when I'm 70 years old, if I get the chance to draw back on a rabbit, I know what that's going to mean to me then, because I've seen enough now to know that.
Definitely.
So
I recently interviewed Dimitri Callis, and I said it on his podcast. I'm going to say it again now, because if Dave's listening, and we've talked plenty behind the scenes, he's just too bloody busy. But I really want to do a small game species specific podcast with Dave. I'm like, that would be the perfect person for it, right? Someone who just absolutely admires chasing rabbits, chasing foxes, chasing all the small critters. Like, why not get him on for something like that?
Well, do it before you get too busy with other shit. That's my advice. Do it.
Yeah, Dave, we're talking to you, because I've hit him up a few times.
Make that a priority. Yeah, you'll get him, mate.
I will. I just got to keep trying with him.
Yeah, he's not that. Yeah, he'll
He'll come around.
It'll be a service to the entire community getting him on.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have. We've got limited days left with people of his caliber. Is the simplest way of putting it. Yeah, we've got limited days left with people of that caliber.
Definitely.
In our community. And well done on getting Steve on, because I don't know. Has that been released already, that one?
No, it hasn't. No. Yeah. I've been banking. Yeah, I've been banking a few up, so it's next to come out.
That bloke is without doubt the nicest bloke that's Australian Bowhunting's ever produced.
He is genuine.
Steve Dimitri Callis is with hands down the nicest bloke that's ever come out of bowhunting in this country, and I'll fucking defend that till I die. Yeah.
You can tell a story too. Jeez, he gets so passionate and into it. It's awesome.
He is just a faultless human being, in my opinion. Yeah. Just a totally flawless human being. Yeah, he's just such a fucking good dude. And we've shared some really special camps together, Steve and I bloody love him to death. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, well, we talked about your guys' trip to Stewart Island, because that was when you kicked off your whitetail, right?
Yeah, yep. That was that trip, yeah.
And then, so I mean, one that is very perfectly timed with this, like the date, meaning that the Fiordland Wapiti Foundation podcast I just dropped with Roy Sloan, who's the general manager, that's literally just come out. So very, very perfect timing, because the Wapiti was the last one that you were able to tick off and that you did just this year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And
he pretty much talked about how hard of a country it is the whole time through. He's like 8 meters of rainfall, like up and down sheer cliffs, like the toughest country you'll come across, but yet it's so much fun to be there.
Yeah, it's very unique, mate. I grew up in the rainforest, which not many people listening to your podcast would have grown up in the rainforest. It'd be a very small number. So, like, I literally grew up in a rainforest, and I guess I grew up having to negotiate thick jungle, I guess is the easiest way of explaining it. But where I grew up in far north Queensland, even though the jungle might be extremely thick, the ground that the jungle is growing out of, the dirt, is still fairly flat. So there's still this fairly consistent profile of dirt that all the trees grow out of. In New Zealand, it is not like that. There's not a consistent profile of ground virtually anywhere. And I think that's the biggest difference. Like, it's just the nature of the surface of the land that's so much different. And I've never seen anything like it anywhere in the world except for Stewart Island. Stewart Island was kind of similar in some ways, but I've never been to, and I've seen a fair bit of the world. I've seen a fair few different countries, and I've got a fair idea of what different kind of
terrains there are.
Terrain. Yeah, like what things look like, and there's nothing that I know of that matches that.
I remember seeing even footage of like your tent, like where you guys were parked up for the night. That looked crazy in itself.
Yeah. Well, honestly, mate, I apart from the two places that we camped throughout the entire, we camped in 3, sorry. So throughout the entire trip, there were 3 different locations where we actually set up a tent. Apart from those 3, I only saw the one more spot where I could have set up a tent. In all of my walking, there was one spot where I looked around and thought, this could be a camp. This could be a spot where we could physically put 2 tents next to each other and we can have a little thing going on here. It's just an incredible environment. It's photos don't do it justice, or videos. You can't understand what that terrain is like unless you're in it and you actually get to see it. I had heard these things for a long time, and mates like Paulie and Macca and a small group of others that have been there before now. Yeah, they tell you that you hear things. Oh yeah, it's fucking hard. It's this and that and whatever. And you go, yeah, well, it can't be that hard. Like it's still planet Earth. Like it's not like we're not going to Mars or something. It can't be. So your brain kind of accepts that other people are telling you that it's hard, but at the same time, your brain's telling you, well, it can't be that. It can't be that bad. Like you've got to be able to do it. And then you get there and you get into it and you go, righto, well, this is kind of exactly in the middle of where I was roughly imagining it between like what they said and what I was thinking. It's just fucking hard.
Yeah.
Every single meter is hard. And there's no sense trying to go really fast in that situation. There are plenty of moments in hunting where it is the right time to go fast and go hard and go, right, we're going to make 10Ks here. Let's fucking go. That's not one of those situations.
You just can't. Yeah.
Very, very tactical. It's very slow. You've got to do a lot of thinking and a lot of, you've got to keep you cool, I think, in that situation. You can't just charge on and try and be a hero or have any bravado whatsoever. I was very careful in my selection of hunting partners.
I was going to say, you need to be, right? Yeah. Taking the wrong person could ruin that whole trip.
If I ended up partnering with someone who wanted to be a hero, it would have been a shit show. I needed someone who had no need to be a hero and had the right vibe and had the right attitude and was and bloody hell made the selection of a lifetime. We had the best team. Like the two of us, Craig and I, just made the fucking best team, like better than even what I was expecting. But yeah, mate, there's no way of sugarcoating it. It's really, really fucking hard, and I can't speak for much because I've only been there once. I've only been to one place, one block, one time, one period, one experience. So my experience is very narrow. But from what I saw in that 10 days, yeah, like it gave me I feel like I got the full experience. Yeah, I feel like
definitely.
I don't feel like I got ripped off.
No. Is this the first time you'd entered the ballot to get in?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, like in regards to success rate for going.
Yeah. 100%,
and then
mate.
In regards to, because obviously, you get put into what do they call it? A segment, like a block, essentially. So did you know your block well in advance, or was it pretty much rock up and this is your block?
So when you apply for the ballot, or when you apply as part of that ballot process, you are applying for both your block and your period at the same time.
Okay.
So you're not just applying for a block or a period, you're applying for both. So you have the ability to list out every single combination of block and period between all of those blocks. I think there's 20 blocks or 18 or something like that. I should know, but it's something like that. And there's obviously 4 periods. So there's potentially, say, 80 different combinations there between block and period.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fill them all in. It's kind of like voting, like when you go to your, like when you do your normal federal voting, like you don't have to fill in you don't have to tick every single box is what I'm saying. You can, it's a bit customizable. So we didn't necessarily apply for every single combination of block and period, but Catseye, the block that we got, and period 2, which is a period that we got, was one of our very, very first preferences. I'm going to say it was in our top 3 or 4 preferences, Joe.
And did you do any research in regards to why you wanted to get that one? Like why it was in the top 3?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of research and a little bit of gut feeling, I guess. From my own perspective, I'm not a Fjordland guru, and I want to put a total disclaimer on this to make it very clear that I'm not a guru on Fjordland.
Yeah.
I'm not a guru on New Zealand. I'm not a guru on Wapiti. I'm just going to make it very clear this is my one and only experience, and I'm only going to talk to that one experience.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit on here and talk to you as though I've been there 4 million times. Now, in my opinion, there seems to be a lot of focus on the tops when it comes to hunting, Wapiti. I can understand the attraction, particularly for rifle hunters. And there's definitely a bit of, I guess there's definitely a sense of like achievement for people who go to Fiordland to go, oh yeah, we made it to the tops and we're up here and whatever. And that's awesome. Over the years, when I've looked at photos of things happening in Fiordland and I've looked at the photos of things happening in the tops, I've never looked at those photos and thought, oh, that looks like a good place to shoot a Wapiti with a bow.
Yeah.
I've never looked at that landscape and thought, oh yeah, I can easily imagine the magic happening there, because I fucking can't. That's the reason.
Yeah.
I can imagine things happening in the bush a lot more over there. And in the like through some of the YouTube videos that I've seen and the limited kind of media stuff that I've seen, but more importantly, the chats that I've had with mates who have been there, like Paulie and Maxie, in their experiences over there, they've been a couple of times each, or 2 or 3 times each now. So incredible wealth of information to draw from. And talking to Paulie mostly, yeah, I just got the vibe that was more likely to happen in the bush rather than up in the tops. And I wanted to, I kind of felt like I wanted to be somewhere where I didn't want to focus on one of the core blocks, which is what everyone focuses on. There's a lot of attention on those core blocks. People want to get a pure or a purer Wapiti. There's a lot of nostalgia, I guess, and a lot of fascination about those core blocks. My thinking was that I wanted to be somewhere just outside the core where there was still good genetics, where it was pretty bushy and not too influenced by red deer. And that pointed me towards the western side of the core blocks, between there and the coast, basically. And that's where Catseye is.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's a bit landlocked by, it's a bit ocean locked and landlocked to some degree, in terms of red deer infiltration. So you've got less of an impact of the reds coming in from the extremities.
Yep.
There's less tops, and yeah, I just got the right feeling about that area. So that was Catseye was on our list. It was on our hit list as one that seemed to tick the boxes, and yeah, that was one of our first preferences, and that was the one that we drew. Yeah, and in terms of the periods, like there's 4 periods: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 being basically pre-rut, 2 being right on the money, and 3 as well, and 4 is kind of at the back end. So really, you want to be there in period 2 or 3. And period 1 and 4 would be your last
preferences.
Last preferences. So yeah, realistically, Catseye period 2 was really one of our highest preferences. Yeah, and that's what we got.
And was the country that thick? You had to like break your way through stuff and like cut things or anything like that, or was it just pretty much there's always something you can maneuver around? It was just there's parts that's kind of landlocked based on bushes, and that's kind of it. Or
a good question. You never have to really cut things. You definitely need to have a saw with you, because you need to have that tool in case you need it. And there's not a lot of spiky things or grabby things. And where I'm from, everything's spiky and grabby.
Yeah.
Everything's just trying to latch onto you. And that's what limits your progress, is just the spikiness of the vegetation. If there was no spiky vegetation in that bush, you could just walk straight through it.
Yeah.
Just quite quickly. In Fjordland, there was only one species of plant that I found that was spiky, and it wasn't horribly spiky. It was just spiky enough to be spiky.
Grab you. Yeah.
And it was pretty rare. It wasn't very common. It was just one little bush every now and then. It's not to do with the vegetation and the thickness of the vegetation. It's to do with the topography at a macro level, the topography of what's happening on the ground. And what I mean by that is decades and decades of logs and dead trees and fallen timber and just the general topography of the landscape, because a place like New Zealand, the geology is very fresh. It's very compared to what we're used to in Australia. We live in one of the oldest pieces of land in the whole world.
Yeah.
Australia, in terms of geology, is one of the oldest bits of country on the whole planet. New Zealand, on the other hand, is one of the newest. It's fresh as. You can just tell by walking through that bush that soil, like the land, like the soil and the rocks, have not got to where they are going to get to yet.
Yeah.
Things that erosion is still happening.
Flipping and slides everywhere.
That's
and stuff.
right. So the country is still fresh. And what that means is you've got steeper slopes, less, I guess, less structurally kind of formed slopes. So things want to
foundations.
Yeah, like there's still slips and landslides, and like my mate Craig we nearly had a major disaster there in a landslide because he fell down in one. So it's not so much the thickness of the actual vegetation; it's more about what's on ground level.
Yeah, what's underneath,
and the complexity of it, and how hard it is to, like, on the way back out at the end of our trip, as we were when we were trekking from our main base camp back to the chopper pickup point. On one particular day, we trekked for an entire day. Like we would have left camp at say 9 a.m. and we did set camp up on dark. Like it was literally dark when we were setting up camp. We had made it for that whole day 600 meters, 600 linear meters.
Hell, that's crazy.
Yeah. And that was a serious day. That was a serious day. We weren't just messing around. Like that was a mentally and physically serious day to get to there. Yeah.
I can only imagine. Was it how many days did you take to get in and out then?
We only ended up with 8 days altogether because of weather impacts at the beginning and the end. The periods are split up by 10 days. So there's basically 4 10-day periods. By rights, you are allowed to head into your block on day 1, and you need to be out on day 10, allowing for the next party to go in the next day. We lost the first day to bad weather. We couldn't fly in, and we knew about that the night before we were supposed to fly in. So that was really great to give us all of that. Basically gave us a full extra day to prepare and reorganize our packs and repack food, and things were a lot more polished than what they would have been if we hadn't have gone in that first day. So we lost the first day to weather, and we flew out a day earlier than what we hoped to. We got picked up on day 9 instead of day 10. Yeah, because
you got a weather warning.
Yeah, because the weather was too shit.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't even know the chopper was coming in. We just got back to our pickup point, and basically we were just celebrating our basic survival. And we had a fair bit of rum stashed at the chopper pickup point, and we were just about to have our first sip of rum, and the fucking chopper came in. We didn't even know it was coming.
Fire it up.
We didn't even get a sip. We didn't even get one sip out of the bottle, and the chopper landed, and we were just frantically fucking packing everything up. And
fire out.
So we had to wait till we were in the chopper before we could have a little
celebratory
taste of success.
Yeah. Crazy. And then what about actual numbers of Wapiti? Did you see many while you were there?
I could tell you how many I actually saw. I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, That's it. I saw 5 deer.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I saw 5. I heard way more than that, but I saw 5. Yeah.
And what
Yep.
did you hear? Did you hear roars or bugles or a mixture?
Mostly bugling. Yeah. I guess going over, I kind of thought there'd be a more looking at like YouTube's a great thing, like in
It
some
is. It's
ways.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
I've never used YouTube much, but I've never used it as much as what I have leading up to this trip.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting as much data as I could about what those animals sound like, what the bush looks like, there's so many great films on YouTube that have been shot in Fjordland, like hunting Wapiti. So there's some really great information there, and just I watched all of them at least a few times, I reckon. And what I saw in those YouTube videos was a very hybridy sounding animal.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of animals roaring like a red. I heard a lot of animals bugling like an elk, but most of what I heard was something in between, a bit of a mixture, which is what you'd expect. What really surprised me on my hunt was that it wasn't what YouTube kind of led me to believe.
Yeah.
They were mostly just flat out bugles.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
Just proper elk bugling like they would be in
America.
North America.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was just.
That's pretty spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, mate. And I reckon there was only about 2 that roared properly like a red, like it just literally roared. And there was just a very small number again that were kind of hovering in between the 2. But certainly, like I'd say about 80% of the noise I heard was just proper
Eagles. Yeah, that's
bugling. And mine was bugling his fucking head off when I was stalking him the whole way from when I could first hear him, probably about 4 hours before that, to the time I shot him. He was bugling his absolute head off.
No way. Yeah.
So I got to witness him bugling at full fucking volume at about 30 meters.
Yeah, fire out.
I caught him, yeah. Yeah, so it was pretty special.
Like, I'd imagine a high pitched bugle like that would be almost not deafening, but piercing in a sense.
Yeah. It's pretty piercing, all right. Yeah, it's pretty full on. Yeah, fucking oath. When you hear that close up, it's yeah. But like there's not too many noises that animals make in the wild that
Even come close, really. Yeah.
more piercing than that. Yeah, that's pretty full. Yeah, to hear a close range, I've heard them in Canada. I haven't hunted an elk in the States. I've only had them in Canada before, but yeah, and I can remember hearing plenty over there. But I felt like they were usually a bit further away, like the sound was coming from a further distance. Whereas this time, particularly the one that I got, being that close to that noise, definitely a big part of the excitement.
And was any of your plan going into play with calls or anything, or was it pretty much just let the animals do the talking and spot and stalk?
That's a really good question. That's a really good one to cover. In fact, that could be one of the most important things that you could cover. I think in the States, there's a massive amount of attention on calling elk and the different styles of calling. I think my approach was, let's take a little bit of American elk hunting. Let's take a little bit of our own experience with hunting red deer, as you also, you've got a good bank of experience with hunting reds. I tried to take a bit of both, I tried to take a bit of that and a bit of that and try and find somewhere in the middle. And I wasn't going out there expecting to be the world's best caller. what I was expecting was to go out there and read the situation and read what was happening in terms of noise and go from there, attack from there. So I had a hoochie mama, which is a like just a cow elk caller, like a push caller.
Yeah.
I have one of them in my pocket, I think most of the time. I had a bugle call, which I don't think I didn't. Yeah, no, I had it with me. Yeah, I had it with me most of the time. I had a bugler, and I've never hunted elk enough to be like a really proficient bugler, but I can make enough of a noise close enough that it works.
Yeah.
I've roared at reds or heard reds roaring enough to have a fair idea of what they sound like. So I guess the feeling that I had before I went in there was that like these things are such a hybrid and they've been hybridized for so long that I think pretty much anything will work. You don't have to be going in there thinking, oh, I've got to make
to talk the language. Yeah.
I've got to make this exact noise and then this big bull's going to come out. No, it's not like that. I think if you make any kind of noise over there, they are so uninfluenced by humans and they don't get hunted enough to be worried about.
There's actually probably quite a forgiving place in a sense in that case then.
Yeah, they've never seen fucking humans. Like that one that nearly attacked me, like it had clearly never had it had never seen a human, and
I didn't see this. What happened there?
it was so unafraid of humans that it was willing to attack one. Oh, I nearly got nailed by a Wapiti, mate.
No way.
Yeah, I nearly had to shoot one out of self-defense. Yeah.
Fucking hell. What happened? You just stumbled upon it or something?
Oh, I was, the day I shot my Wapiti, I was climbing up a fairly serious ravine. Like it was the very steep creek that went a long way up a major valley system. And I had a certain goal, like of where I wanted to get to and hunt. And the roaring of the water was something that I hadn't prepared myself for over there. And that's probably a good thing to mention because I've never heard anyone else mention that. The sound of the water going through the creek can be so great that you can't fucking hear anything.
Yeah, wow.
Even if you're 300 meters away from the creek, that river might be roaring so hard.
Yeah.
You can't, particularly with direction, you just can't quite work it out. Right, was that way or was it?
How wild.
You just can't quite get direction. Anyway, I'm up this creek. I'd probably been walking for I'd probably been going for about 2 hours in the morning or something. And I was just going through no man's land, like up this creek, and it didn't look like particularly a good country. There wasn't like a great amount of sign or anything on the ground, but I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to just let one out here. And I just went and let one out right on the edge of the creek. And then there's just water rushing through the creek, like super, super loud. And I'm like expecting nothing whatsoever. Not even 10 seconds after I let out that call, straight ahead of me across this creek, a Wapiti bull is standing there staring at me. Just a young fellow, like 3x3, just like a 2-year-old or whatever, just staring there, staring at me, wanting for me to die.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, straight across the creek. And he was just staring at me and I was like, oh, here we go. And that was the first actual day of hunting. Like I got a crag in on a bull the day before, but I didn't have a bow. I just took him up there and got him a shot. But this was my first day of actual hunting with a bow and actually hunting, And I was like, holy shit. And I just stood there. I thought, wow, isn't this amazing? So I've got my phone out, I started videoing and taking photos and stuff just carefully. And I shut up. I didn't make any more sound, obviously, because it's right there. He's only 20 meters away. And he walked across the creek and came up right next to me and stared me down. And then started curling his lips and smashing bushes with his antlers. And yeah, you should have a look at that story because
wow.
I put a whole heap of clips up. Yeah, he got so aggressive that I got an arrow out at one stage. I nearly fucking shot him.
How close was he?
Like less than 5 meters.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, just I was waiting for him to just go. I didn't come to full draw, but I had an arrow on at one stage and I was ready for that moment where if he had showed any more aggression, I would have just pulled back and just shot him and just finished, like just dropped him because it was just getting to that point where I felt like I was at risk. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, because I saw a lot of your stories where you're there in the moment of it all, but yeah, I didn't see that. That's
You must have missed that day. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I've never seen footage like that. Yeah.
There we go. I got to flip it on him.
And he's got a mongoloid jaw too. I don't know. If
Yeah,
you
yeah, off
noticed
the
that, but
side.
He's got a fucked up bottom jaw. Yeah, but oh mate, that was just yeah, like just don't expect something like that, eh? Like
No.
imagine, like if you were hunting reds up the valley and a 2-year-old stag like showed that amount of aggression towards you in the bush, what would you do? Like, would you just sit back and go, "Oh, this is all good. Like, I don't like he's absolutely harmless. There's no threat here."
I don't know.
Or
Like,
would you go?
I think you'd have to worry, right? In this circumstance, like, because I always think of they're so scared of you that they don't even let this happen.
If he put his head down, and tried to fight me, like if he just went, "Right, whatever you are, I don't like you and I want to hurt you," he can hurt me way more than
100%.
I can hurt him without my bow. My bow can hurt him, but I
You know
can't.
what's crazy? Watching this video, he's walking and his willy's just like, he's like, yeah.
You should have seen it. He was in an absolute state, like just wanted to fucking kill me. And how's this for funny? Like, well, I eventually got rid of him. Like, I just kept I acknowledged him. Like, I kept talking to him and saying, "Yeah, you're right, mate. Just fucking, it's time to let go. Like, this is your bush here, and I'm going to keep walking up this way, and I'm going to try and find your dad." And eventually he let go, and he stayed in the bush and didn't follow me anymore. Because he followed me a fair way, and I kept motoring up that creek, and not long after that, I looked on this tree just that I happened to go past, and there was a type of fungi, like a type of tree fungi, like a mushroom, that was wider than the chair that I'm sitting on right now. It was wider than a normal seat. It was fucking like that big, like just coming out of this tree. Like it looked absolutely surreal. I was like, that can't be for real. It was so big. And for good luck, I went up and gave it a little light kiss. And I thought, you've been here a lot of years. Whatever you are, you've been here for a lot of years. So please give me a little bit of your love. And I reckon 2 hours later, I was taking a photo of the Wapiti. Yeah.
I thought you were about to say you saw munches out of it. It'd been high on mushroom coming down. No, not you. I mean, I thought you'd met the Wapiti had been into it. Like that's why. That's where I thought the story was going to go.
There were purple. There were bright purple ones on the ground. So maybe
getting that berserker energy.
Yeah, maybe he'd munched a few too many that morning and got a bit overconfident. Maybe I don't know, but it was certainly out of the ordinary, mate. Yeah, like what you see a lot of things in the bush, particularly when you've, I guess, spent a fair bit of time in the bush, and that's wild. Like seeing how close he is to you, and he just keeps coming back. Like that one video, it looks like he's going to run away. Next minute, he's there, and you got your bow in front of him. You're like, I guess we're not as a community, we're not very used to deer showing any aggression. I guess that's what it comes down to. Bovines, yes. Pigs, yes, but not deer. And we expect when we hunt buffalo or scrubbers or bantang or pigs that, yeah, there's going to be some aggression and there's going to be some fight back. You don't expect it with deer, and I didn't expect that.
That's wild. Like the more I'm watching this, the more of him like rubbing the trees and looking straight back at you. Like definite signs of aggression.
Oh, mate. It was just, he'd never seen a human, and I think this is what it was. He'd never seen a human, and it was his first year that he could physically have a root.
Yeah, yeah.
So the combination of those two, imagine if you'd never seen it's that. I'm not even going to try that.
That's fair enough.
But, like, that's the situation he was in. He'd never seen a human, and he'd never had a root, and it was all just a bit.
Just everything's going to his head. Yeah. Oh, there's your big mushroom. How good.
Yeah, that's it. How big is it?
Yeah,
It's like
that's crazy.
you can make a chair out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. What a wild experience.
Yeah, no, it's like nothing else. It's just like nothing else. Stewart Island, there's certainly some similarities there in the bush, like I think there's similarities in the density of the animals. Like you're working with a fairly specific existing density of animals. Like when you walk into the bush, there's a certain number of animals that are actually there that you could come across. And definitely the complexity of the ground cover and the trees and logs and rocks and just the complexity of the ground surface was fairly similar.
Comparable.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Fjordland was definitely worse than Stewart Island. It's definitely a lot worse. Yeah.
Probably a lot less untouched. Sorry, a lot more untouched. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And so what, you just kind of kept cruising up the creek then? Could you, like, when did you start hearing your boy?
I reckon it was around the same time as that little fella came in. And how it worked was like like we'd spent 2 days getting to base camp. So we'd lost the first day to weather. Next 2 days were just getting dropped off, getting up to base camp. Craig had a very close shave with a bull on that like technically the third afternoon, which was the second afternoon in the bush, and it didn't go his way. So that fourth day was, the weather forecast was good, and we knew that was the best day's forecast for the whole trip. I had a completely open, like I had a completely free plan, like, because Craig was going back, he was backtracking back towards where we'd come from to look for the bull he'd shot at, and he wasn't sure if he'd hit it or not. So he was essentially backtracking into country that we'd already walked past to get to that point. And I just had these two endless fucking valleys in front of me where I could choose from. So it was a pretty good situation to be in, I must admit. It wasn't as if we weren't drawing straws or anything. Like I just had free run of this massive expanse of country. And I knew, like, due to the weather forecast, I knew that was going to be the day to fucking get it done. I knew that if I was going to get it done, that was the day that would make everything much nicer.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was only going to go downhill from there, and I knew that bit already being day 4, and I haven't even got my bow out yet. The clock is really ticking, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like literally, okay, this is day 4. You've got 6 actual days left in your time frame, and you don't know what you're going to lose to weather. You don't know what you're going to lose.
Anything could come, right?
Got to make the most of it. Like when you've got that good window, you've got to fucking
hustle for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hustle. Yeah, you got to zone in on those chances and go to, right, well, this is the day. This is the fucking day. Let's go and get it done. And yeah, after that altercation with the young bull and the mushroom, I reckon it was around that same time that I could hear some kind of bugling in the distance. But again, because of the water noise, I couldn't tell what direction it was in. And that sounds really crazy. People might think, oh, surely you can just tell what direction it's coming from.
Like, no, if you've ever been pretty close to a waterfall, you know what you're talking about.
Oh man, I'm not used to that problem. I'm not. I don't think I've ever had that problem before, where the sound of rushing water was so strong that it affected my ability to work out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon I heard him. Let's say I reckon I heard him about probably about 11 a.m. or 12, and I had a fair idea on the map of, like, I had a fair idea of where I wanted to get to, and there was like a hanging basin off the main valley that I was heading up, and it looked good to me. And the previous year, this is a really important piece of information. The previous year, a fellow hunter by the name of Tony Campos, who's a very well-traveled and not well known because he keeps to low profile, but very well respected hunter in Australia. Tony's done a lot of bow hunting and rifle hunting. He's dabbled in both, but he went to that same block last year. So he had some incredible intel to share, and he was very willing to share it. And Tony got a beautiful bull last year, really nice, sort of like a classic bushy kind of mature Wapiti bull. Like he fucking nailed it. Like he got a beauty, and he lived the dream, you know. Like, and he bloody deserves it, Tony. So I was walking. So Tony had shown me where he'd shot his bull, and it was in one little hanging basin, and the one I wanted to get to was the next one.
Yeah, okay.
So I was kind of walking past Tony's area, thinking about Tony's hunt and going, wow, so that's where he went, and that's he went up there, and that's where his bull was. And I kind of was having that, I guess, emotion going past that point, but I was aiming for the next one. So I was going hard. I was ready to go to the next one. And I got to the next one, and that bull did not sound any closer than what it was 2 hours ago. Like, it still sounded like it was a long way away, but I just started to get a bit of direction. So I was like, yep, he is up. He's up where I want him to be. He's up in that basin that I was aiming for. And not long after that, I realized there was two going off together, and they were setting each other off. They were making each other go back and forth, which is really good.
It's just going to keep going, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps the action happening. And in a case like that, when they're setting themselves off, like they're making themselves fire up, you don't need to. If I went in there and let out a bugle, what would be the point?
Yeah, exactly.
There would be no point other than those two balls would have just gone, fuck, why is that guy just
where did he come from?
Why does he sound like so weird? Like, so I just shut up. I did not say a word, and I'd never said a word the whole day, apart from when that little ball came in. That was the only noise I made the whole day. When I realized there was two going off and setting each other off, I was like, right, you've got no need to call here. You just fucking go hard. Get up there to where they are. And that's what I did. As quickly as my average physical ability allowed me to, I got up that mountain as quick as I physically could. And it was like just
fire out.
It was like that, man. It was near vertical the whole way, thick as fuck. There was no easy bits. It was just very technical maneuvering of the body in an upwards direction until I got up to his height. And that took a fucking lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it was in those situations, the adrenaline, I think, there's a combination of adrenaline and sensible, calculated thinking that's going on all at once. So you sort of, you're still making calculated decisions about tactically what you should do to try to get the best result. So there's still some tactical kind of thinking, but at the same time, there's still this adrenaline that's pushing you up to where you need to go. And as you know, and as everyone else knows, I'm not an athlete. I'm not fit. I'm fit enough to do these things, but I'm not an animal. I'm not some I'm not. It's as simple as that. And but if I've got a little bit of adrenaline and I know there's a Wapiti up there,
it's not
no matter how fucking hard that mountain is, I'll go up there. No problem. That's what I did. Just straight up to his level. And all of a sudden I was at his level, and the wind had been chopping a bit, and I was like, fuck, this could just go pear-shaped any moment. And I'm so used to failure after this many years of training that if the weather if the wind had chopped and he got my scent and he just shut up, I would have just gone, righto, that's it.
That's what it was.
Hunting.
Yeah.
Let's walk for 6 hours back to camp and go to sleep. That's what we're here. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. But he didn't shut up. The wind didn't seem to change. He just kept going and going and going, and the other one was still going. And I'm like, fuck, I'm on here. Like, I'm gonna get real close to this bastard in a minute. And I continued to pick my way through the thick shit, just bit by bit, meter by meter by meter. And I got to a bit of a point where I could see that there was the shape of a kind of gully below me, but the bush is just so thick there, you can't see through it enough to see the lay of the land, if you know what I mean. You can't see the topography of a mountain, for example. You can only see the bush that's right in front of you, and you can't see what's beyond that.
Yeah.
But I got to this point where I could just see there was like a slight gully below me, and I knew he was in there because I could hear him going off his head. And I felt like I was just slightly above him, which I felt was a good position to be in. And I got to a point where I could see into this gully of wherever he was, but there was just no movement, no sign of anything whatsoever. So you imagine you're standing there, there's a bull just going off his fucking head at about 30 meters, and there's just no
Can't see anything.
Nothing. Yeah. Zero movement. Not even a fucking bird or a dragonfly or something. Just dead still. And he's just there going, just going off his head. I'm like, fuck. So I thought, righto. Okay, the wind's still hanging on. We're still good there. Let's just give it a minute and see what happens. And he's going to have to make a move. Like, something's going to happen here. You've done the hard bit, which is getting within bow range. Now you've got to just get the shot bit right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing there and I was looking down. And I was looking down below me, and there's just this one tree that kind of, it seemed to offer a nice platform to stand on that was not like on an angle. It was like a flat little platform that was coming out with the roots. And it just felt like it offered me a bit of a better view into the bush below me. And I was like, it was about 5 or 6 meters below me. And I was like, if you can just skid down to that tree without making noise, I reckon that's going to be a better spot to be. And I'm carefully sliding down without making any noise. The next minute, my fucking bum bag broke. Like, the buckle on my bum bag snapped as I'm in the final few meters of maneuvering. It was off Temu, by the way. Yeah, it was a Temu bum bag. It was camouflage. It was a camouflage bum bag, but
it lived up to its standard.
It just for it to fail at that exact fucking moment after all those kilometers travel, I couldn't believe it. I just thought, this is just too good to be actually true. And I managed to sort it out. Got those next few meters, just got onto that tree that was kind of set off the cliff face. And I just got there and I thought, you better get a fucking arrow out, because he could just materialize any moment. So yep, got an arrow out, arrow on the string. At that very same moment, just saw a bit of movement down below me, and he just materialized in the one gap that was visible in the whole bush. In the whole landscape around me, there was one gap through a bunch of trees, and he walked into it and gave me his chest at about 35 meters. And an arrow was quickly sent down that gap.
Fire out. How good.
Yeah, it was just, yeah, you can't, like 95% of the time he would have stopped behind a tree, or
exactly,
something in the way, or there would have been this or that or whatever. But
were you worried about the arc of the arrow or anything, or didn't?
No,
have
not
to?
at that distance, because it was
straight
downhill,
down. Yeah, okay.
Really steep downhill. I didn't even range him or anything. Yeah, just 20 pin. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
At that, it was so steep downhill, and it would have been under. Well, I'd say it would have been 35 meters, probably, like in true distance.
Real-time distance. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was so steep that it was just not even any thought. It was just like, yeah, 20 pin's gonna fuck
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It just took him. It was I thought he was more broadside than he was, but he was slightly quartering on, and it just went in just in front of his shoulder and out just behind the other shoulder. So yeah, and didn't. I looked for the arrow, but I had no chance of finding it.
Getting it back, yeah.
Yeah,
So the photos that you took and stuff, you took that by yourself, or did you message Craig? No, yeah, okay.
It was just not even a
feasible thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not even a possibility. And I would have spent at least 45 minutes just maneuvering his body into a spot where I could just get it, just get his body into a resting position where I could get a photo.
That's crazy.
It was just, mate, you can't even imagine. Like, they're fucking big. If it was a chiddle deer, it would have been a bit quicker. Like, it would have probably been a bit faster. But they're just a massive animal. And when they're on a slope like that,
down slope, yeah, just tumble.
You've only got a certain amount of influence on which way their body rolls.
Yeah.
So you can't just go, I want him to be here, so I'm going to drag him here. It's not how it works. You've got to deal with whatever logs and whatever slopes and whatever you've got. Make
it happen.
Roll this way, roll that way. Yeah. And look, I was happy with getting a decent photo, but at the time, all I could think of was, this is going to be the shittest photo of any animal ever taken. And that's what I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah. How far did he actually travel from where you shot him?
It would have been less than 60 meters.
But straight downhill, or was it a cross?
Slight angle.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't straight downhill, but at a bit of an angle, and it was less than 10 seconds. I could hear it. I heard him fall over, so I could hear him. After the shot, I heard him go bang, 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 bang for about 6 or 7 seconds. And then I heard him come to a stop, and then I heard him fall, and then I heard his legs kicking.
Yeah,
so I knew he was down.
He was down, yeah.
He didn't go very far. Yeah.
It is, it's like such a sign of relief. Like, it's almost like an awesome sound to the ears when you've done that, meaning like you hear the drop and you're like, okay, great. Like, it's just relief. Like, yes, it's all gone well.
Well, it's an interesting bit of psychology there that you mentioned, because it can't actually be total relief, because your brain wants to hear what your brain wants to hear.
It to be that. Yeah.
Exactly. You want to, in a situation where you've just shot an animal, your brain will give you any kind of information it can, any kind of optimism it can.
Mm.
So how many times, and this will be something that you see later in life, but how many times have you had a newbie with you and you've asked them, where'd you hit him?
Yeah.
And they point in here and show you right up in behind the chest, and it wasn't. Yeah, look,
rump shot.
It was barely even forwards of the back leg. Yeah. And that's because our brains want like this maximum optimism in those situations when you've just shot. So even though I thought that I'd heard that, I couldn't be sure until I was actually standing over him.
Yeah.
And that's really how it should be treated. You can't, nothing's gospel until you've got your fucking hand on the thing and it's there in front of you dead. Yeah.
Definitely.
You can have thoughts, and you can have instincts, and you can think things, you can think that you heard something or think that you saw something or whatever. But until it's actually 100% happening in front of you, you can't rely on those. You can't rely on those judgments, because it is. I've seen it with people. I've seen it with extremely experienced bow hunters who have shot fucking millions of animals, and it still happens. It's still a thing.
I actually just saw.
Something to be aware of.
Yeah, I just saw a reel last night, and it's this farmer, and she shot a pig on the water. And she walks over and she's filming it. She's like, "Can't tell me mama can't shoot." This pig hops up. He drops the phone. You just hear her screaming and running. I'm like, that's classic.
That's a good example. I saw
100%.
Yes. whatever that shot did, and that the same thing's happened to me with a bow. I walked up and grabbed a ball once by the back leg to drag it into position for a photo, and as soon as I grabbed it on the back leg, it just turned around and fucking went for me.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was not dead. It wasn't even, didn't even feel like it had been shot at all. It was like it was asleep. So yeah, no, it's a real thing. You've got to be, and I think that's a good point to get across is, regardless of the amount of optimism that you might feel or your mate might be feeling in that moment, you've got to still treat the situation very, very methodically and surgically is probably the word. You've got to still go, right, this is the information. This is the data that we have. We, like, say if you're with your mate and you saw his shot hit, you saw his shot hit, you're going to have a better perception of where that arrow hit than him. I can guarantee you, any day of the week, like your visualization of where that shot hit is probably going to be better than his.
Well, I mean,
he was the one behind the bow.
This is a good chance for us to say to go back and listen to your last episode that we did, because that's what that whole episode was about the when things don't go right, what do you do? And we were in depth of that. That was we covered a lot of good content in that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but no, it's an important point. And so going back to like what I was saying, like even though that's what I thought that I'd heard, it doesn't mean that that's what I actually heard. That's what I was hoping to have
had happened. Yeah.
And you, mate, you throw on top of that, it's your last species in the South Pacific, it's fucking Wapiti, and there's all these other elements to it as well, like different layers. And at this point, I'm just like, no, it's even for me, like I've had my fair share of good luck, and I've a lot of people say I'm a tin ass or I've been kissed on the whatever.
Earned experiences, I would say, but yeah,
it's fair enough. And I will admit I've been in a lot of fucking good situations for whatever reason. But even in this moment, it was still too good to believe. I was still like, no, that
until it's done.
Can't, even after all these experiences of things going really well and really shit, but fair whack of them going really well. Even in that moment, I was like, no, that was too tasteful. Like, that was too perfect. The way that all just happened just then, he can't be dead. It's going to be a blood trail. You're going to be down there in the fucking trying to look. This is you're immediately starting to beat yourself down, which I think is a good thing. You want to
definitely.
You don't want to be overconfident.
The worst is only going to get better. Yeah,
exactly. You want your personality to get you back in check, roughly to where you probably should be. So my personality was getting me back in check and saying, no, don't jump ahead. Like, it sounded like that, but that could have been fucking anything. Like, he could be 300 meters away.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, he was there. Yeah, he was exactly where I heard him pull over. Yeah.
Man, that's wild. And so, what did you do in regards to pack out? Like, what was the plan? Taking a bull at that stage where you're in the middle of freaking nowhere?
Oh, good question, mate. I don't think I thought this through well enough, to be honest, and I regret it, to be honest. I could have done better here, and this is something I really, I think I could have done. I think I could have achieved a better result. Maybe not. When I was talking to my mate Wilsey, who's probably one of my biggest influences in bowhunting, or not probably, he definitely is one of my biggest influences in bowhunting. Wilsey went in like 97 or 99 or something like that when there was basically no wapiti there whatsoever. Him and his mate saw one wapiti from 500 meters away on that trip. That was their whole trip. Wilsey went back last year and had a really good trip, but just didn't quite get it done. And then he went back this year and he drew a block again and he got it done. So
wow.
Wilsey got his wapiti just after I did, and he, having started his South Pacific 15 decades before I did, he finished his just straight after me. Yeah, basically the same month. So I want to give him a bit of a shout out there because he is a fucking proper legend. When we were talking before the trip, Wellesley mentioned to me, "Oh, I'm going to get a bum bag." So he was like, "I want to get a bum bag." So it's sort of like it's a halfway point between, like, you can still carry a bit of stuff, but it's not in your way, and it's really low profile, I guess, and you can get away with carrying a few basic bits of gear without actually having a backpack. And that's where my thinking went after that conversation. I was like, "Yep, Woolsey's on the money there. Like, that's a fucking good idea. I'm going to get a little bum bag, like a little bum bag so I've got my main, like, large backpack to get in there.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a little
Have a
bum
little
bag.
basics back. Yeah.
Yeah. And the backpack that I bought, like, I've been through a few in the last 15 or so years, like, of your bigger model ones, like your multi-day bags. And I got a new one this year. I got the Mystery Ranch Marshall.
Yeah.
Which I think is the biggest. I think it's the biggest pack they made. But anyway, the lid off that pack detaches as a little mini backpack.
Oh,
So it's
no
got
way. Yeah. Okay.
two little shoulder straps. So it's like you know what the lid kind of looks like.
Yeah.
That normal sort of size and shape. So when I figured that out, I was like, okay, well, I could have that carrying some gear, and I could have a bum bag. So I could have a combination between this little tiny mini backpack and a bum bag. I thought, right, that's going to carry everything. So that's what I had. That's what I used that day.
Doesn't carry an animal.
It doesn't carry much meat, and it doesn't carry a cape.
Yeah.
Head. And one of the most horrible feelings, like, once I shot him, I was like, I had all the best aspirations. I was like, yep, fucking, we've got enough time. I'm going to be right here. I'm going to get the cape out. I'm going to flash it out tonight, and I'm going to do this and that. And the salt was back at the coastline. We didn't carry salt up into the mountains. So we had like 8 kilos of salt back at the chopper drop point. So the plan always was that if someone got a cape, that person would basically go back to the base to get that cape into salt. And in theory, that's not a bad idea. Like, I think that would work in a lot of cases. And it would, and it has in a lot of cases. But in our case, it didn't, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I don't think I've ever removed a cape so cleanly. Like, there was not one little tiny bit of flesh and not one mistake. Everything just came off so neatly and perfectly. It was just
How good.
And his cape was just pristine. Like, his whole face and neck was just, it was just the most extraordinary, beautiful cape. You know, like, and as I'm there just frothing out, job done. And that's a special moment when you're there caping out an animal after something like that. You're like, it is a pretty special moment to absorb. And anyway, got the cape off. I'm like, right, fuck yeah. Next step, we're going to walk all the way back to camp for all that shit that we got through. I reckon I made it 200 meters down the hill, and I was realizing, no, not possible. Can't do this one. It's not physically possible. You can't. I couldn't find a way to wrap the cape around that head and have it all in a manageable shape and bundle to get down. I couldn't do it. It's too much weight. So 200 meters in, after spending all that time caping it out, I cut the fucking cape straight off the head and left it in the bush.
No.
And that was one of the most horrible feelings I've ever felt.
Oh, I can imagine.
I could see how nice it was, and I knew how much time I just invested in that.
Yeah.
And I just
That's
literally,
heartbreaking. That's horrible.
I've never done anything like that. I've never had a case like that.
Especially like the height of that experience. Like, it's literally, it's the last tick off of the box. And then for that, like, oh God.
You can have all of this, but you just can't have this little, this last little piece of the puzzle. You're not having that, mate.
Man.
You can get fucked. Now, good luck getting out of here. So, next thing, without the cape, just the head with the cape removed and a bow. So with my bum bag, my little backpack, a bow in one hand, head in the other, and an elk's head's not light. It was not too bad going until it got dark. And it got dark when I was about probably 1.5 k's from camp.
Yeah.
And for the first half hour, I tried to make it happen. But quite quickly in the dark, I realized that I wasn't like you. I just couldn't navigate through that bush with no hands and a head torch.
Yeah.
I was getting caught up in situations where I was like, like I've got a fairly high tolerance level in the bush. I haven't got a high tolerance level at places like work or home but in the bush, I've got a fucking high tolerance level. Like I can deal with a lot of shit. Like I guess I've been through enough shit to have a fairly high tolerance level. But there were moments where, and I don't get angry very often, but there were moments where I was just looking up at the sky going, fuck.
Yeah. Wow.
Because I had no way of approaching the next step.
Yeah.
Where do I reach for that branch? Do I grab onto that fern? Do I just throw me fucking bow into the bush and forget about it and just try and aim on, like, just focus on getting myself out of here? It was just getting so hectic, and I've never experienced anything like it, that I was like, right, you can't do this. You physically can't do this. We've reached that point now where let's accept that you can't do it. And the decision was made to stash the bow and the head.
Yeah.
And giving me 2 free hands, which meant that I could navigate and I could get through the shit. And then it was easy. It was pretty easy from there. When I had 2 hands and a head torch, I was fine. But
Was this all GPS tracked?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking, like, in the nighttime on a farm on a block that I know, I still have troubles. Like, the general direction you're going, but like you just take one 50 meters too far and you're in a gully compared to on the ridge, and you're like, what the fuck, where am I? Like that'll do your head in enough alone, let alone in a situation like that. Yeah.
This is pissing down rain. Head torch, even with a really strong head torch, you can only see a certain amount of things in front of you because of the rain and the vegetation. You can't just, like in Australian bush with a powerful head torch, you can see 100 meters or 50 meters. You can see, oh yeah, there's that, or there's this flat ground, or that looks like it's a little bit more open over there as opposed to this bit that's thick. But there, you don't have that advantage. It's just a wall of all the same shit, and there's nothing that's different, and there's nothing that's good, and there's nothing that's open or clear. And you've just got to fucking trust your GPS and just go for it. And I eventually realized that it wasn't doable anymore. I was like, no, you've got to leave your bow. You can't keep fucking. This is just getting too
risky.
The rate of progress was too slow to make it worthwhile. And, so I dumped my bow and the head on the edge of the creek, and once I fucked them off, I was right there. I just powered. Like, it was still another kilometer to go, but with 2 hands and a head torch, I could just go bang, 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 climb through all the shit, and then. Yeah, eventually got back, and I went back 2 days later. Not the next day, but the day after that, I went back and got them. Luckily, and they're still there.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah.
How would you approach it differently though? Like, would you empty out your big pack and carry it around with you if you could?
Yes. Yep. That's what I should have done. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I knew there was some conclusion to that last bit. That's exactly what I should have done, and that would be my advice if anyone's going to give it a crack. I should have, and that's what I've done mostly in the past on these types of hunts. I've just emptied my pack in my tent and just used my multi-day pack as a day pack.
Yeah.
Had I have done that day, would have made no difference to the outcome, and I would have got the cape out to there, no problem, and I would have been able to strap my bow or the head onto the pack, so that would have freed up
my arm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably would have got out without abandoning either of them, I would imagine. But then the next thing is, would I have got the cape to salt in time?
Yeah.
With Craig's injuries that I only found out about that night when I got back to camp that night after abandoning the head and the bow a kilometer back upstream. No, the simple answer is no. I wouldn't
So
have got back to assault. Yeah.
Craig's injuries being from the slip that he fell down, or
Yeah. Yep.
what do you end up having? What happened to him?
Well, he's done ligament damage, and he hasn't broken any bones that I know of, but I haven't. To be honest, he tried to call me last night, and I tried to call him back 5 minutes later and just missed him. But
Yeah.
I haven't got the full prognosis of exactly what the doctor's report was. He mentioned his ACL,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure whether that was actually completely torn or partially torn, but he's done major ligament and tendon damage to multiple parts of his body, not just in one spot. Yeah.
Far out.
And the fact that he physically got himself out of there is really remarkable to me.
And he didn't lean on you or
is.
anything like that? Like he wasn't.
No,
Yeah, wow.
needed a little bit of moral support, which is what we do anyway. Like when you're with your mate in the bush, it's just standard. But he needed no physical support whatsoever. The only thing I gave to him that was of any support was I had a piece of elasticized strapping that had been in my first aid kit that I carry around. I reckon Mum gave me that bit of strapping from her work when I was still in high school. That's how old it would have been.
Yeah, wow.
That bit of strapping's been in my first aid kit since high school, and it's never been used. And that was the one time that it was needed.
Well, it's probably a good thing it was that old because they don't make it like they used to, mate. So it was better than what you could have done.
That saved the day because he didn't have anything else, and that's what strapped his ankle up enough to get him out of there. Yeah,
Yeah, far out.
I think it was a good combination of I think what saved Craig was a really great combination of just intelligence and adrenaline and level-headedness, and just strength as well, because he didn't panic. He had enough adrenaline to get himself back to camp, so that he was actually safe and wasn't stranded out in the bush. But the damage wasn't bad enough. Like, the damage was bad enough that it was that it really fucked him, but it wasn't bad enough to completely stop him.
Yeah,
He's just able to continue on. And if it was a case where he wasn't able to continue on, I don't know of any spot where a chopper could have.
No, exactly.
Like one of those rescue lines. I can't visualize one spot where they could have dropped a line into the bush to pick him up.
That's wild. I just had a quick look because it made me think straight away of, like, there must be a fair death count for Fjordland. There's only 14 deaths since 2007.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what I would kind of expect, I reckon, mate. I think that's somewhat at an average of
pretty much 22 years. So one every other year, roughly. Not quite. 1.5 a year.
That's pretty much what I'd expect. I think there was a backpacker that lost their lives quite recently. I haven't seen the end of that story, but there was a lot of talk in the news a week or so ago about a young English backpacker that was lost over there, and they hadn't found him yet. I'm not sure if they have actually found him yet, but mate, you can see how things could go pear-shaped.
Definitely.
It's not snakes or crocs or spiders or buffalo. It's not the types of risks that we're used to. There's only two risks: gravity and exposure, and that's it.
Yeah,
nothing else can get you. Or maybe a wapiti if you're really unlucky, like I was, mate.
Yeah,
but it's gravity.
I can imagine, like, even if you step on a log wrong, right? Like, sorry, like just that mossy log that's wet. You just step on it wrong with the slippery part of your boot. Like, that could be the end of you, right?
And that's a good example. And you can break that down even a little bit further, and you can go, okay, what is a log? Is a log something that is structurally quite hard and looks like a log? Or is it something that looks like a log, but it's got no structural integrity whatsoever? If you put your boot on it, it's just going to fall apart like pus. And that's what a lot of it is. Like, and when you've got a lot of weight on your back and there's a lot of sort of momentum and you've got that certain sort of rhythm up, you put 1 foot wrong into a rotten log or a rotten bit of shit that doesn't have a bottom to it, you just don't know what's next. You don't know what's going to come next. Yeah. So you can't be so careful that, you can't walk through that bush being so careful and pedantic that you're not putting a single foot wrong, because you'll never get anywhere. You'll never get 10 meters. But you've also got to be so careful that you don't do that, because if you do that, if you fuck up, it's all over.
Yeah.
It's over.
No,
right
100%.
there.
Did you
You're
do
not going
any fitness prep in regards to this trip?
I did. Like, I don't want to make a joke out of this because it's not funny. It's a serious issue. But yeah, I didn't do much rain. I did about 3 hours. And when I got up into the mountains, I was very grateful that that's all I'd done.
Oh, wow.
Because part of me wants to believe that, how do I say this without, how do I say this the right way? Part of me wishes that I was a fit guy and that I was into sports and fitness, and I went to the gym and I had a aesthetically pleasing body. And that when I went into these mountain environments, things were like easier, I guess, to some degree. Part of me definitely wishes that. And that's how a lot of our population is. A lot of people are able to do that and do it very well. I'm not one, and I never have been, and I'm losing faith that I ever will be. And if there was ever going to be a real, inspirational kind of moment for me to go, right, this is the moment. You've got to get your shit together. You've got to be fit. If there was ever going to be a moment, this was the one, to get me fighting fit. And I did a few mountain hikes at home and whatever. And, but yeah, just quickly, that dissipated and became not a thing, just too busy with work, typical situation. Too busy with work, family, not able to find the times to put that effort in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in the mountains, like on about day 3 or 4, I remember turning around to Craig and going, you know what? Thank fuck I didn't waste any more of my life on fitness before this hunt, because it would have made no difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
It would have made zero difference had I done 50 hours of training or 5 or 3 or 2. It made no difference. Because
I think a little bit of a
situation, you've got to, in that situation, you've either got it or you haven't, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you haven't got it and you haven't done the training to meet any shortfalls, don't fucking bother going there. It's too hard for you.
Yeah.
Don't go there. It's not.
I just think, like, as a bit of a caveat, you've definitely got mountain fitness too. Like, you've been hunting your whole life, so you've got that grit and ability to be able to walk up a hill. And if anything, the fact of having to slow down actually probably is highly beneficial in that situation. Because if you had too much fitness about you, you tried to stomp the yard in it, it might have been a disservice, rather.
I think you've just pinpointed it right there in what you said in the second bit. Yeah, the first bit definitely. Yeah, like I must have some level of fitness. Like I'm not just completely obese, useless. You know what I mean? Like I'm not totally obese or anything, but I think that the complexity and the style of your maneuvering through that type of bush is all about technique rather than
strategy,
speed. Speed. Yeah. And there are some cases where speed's a thing. Like you want to get up that mountain as quickly as you can. And there have been cases, 1 or 2, where I've gone, oh God, I wish I could have got up there a little bit quicker. But there's never been a case where there's never been one case in my whole life where I've not got to where I wanted to get to. And that's what's important to me.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So I'm happy to be fat and still get to where I want to get to. I'm sitting comfortably in this little niche. Yeah. But yeah, like, and I know that's not the right answer, mate, but like, I think any bit of physical fitness is an advantage, and everyone should be encouraged to do as much training as they possibly can. Um, Especially on a hunt like this that's so physical. But I don't think any amount of physical training per se can prepare you
Fully prepare.
for
Yeah.
can prepare you for what an entire lifetime of mental training could have given me.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm lucky. And not every like you can't just go and do that. You can't just go and buy that, or you can't just go and organize that quickly.
No,
I've just
definitely.
been very, very fucking lucky to have that. Yeah.
But I mean, as a shortcut, and this comes from someone who does do a lot of fitness, it is also a quick way to get your mental resilience up, is doing that discipline of going in and going to the gym, or just getting through your fitness routine daily. Like if you're a late onset hunter starting now, or it's something that you want to get into, I'd be like, heck, start the gym, because you're going to get your ass handed to you in the hills no matter what. But if you can at least build the resilience of, okay, I'm going to work hard today, I'm going to have to keep showing up and working hard. I feel like that's almost not that there's ever a shortcut, but that's the one shortcut you can give yourself.
And if you're like you say, if you're a late onset hunter, or you haven't had those, like in the early days, like before our modern times, we like doing hard things and doing them regularly was just part of life, and
Yeah.
that trend would have increased the further you go back in time.
Mhm.
Our rating of hardness and how regularly that happened, it'd just be a perfect chart going back in time
It would,
compared to
wouldn't it?
now.
Yeah.
And you know that better than anyone. So for people who haven't hunted their whole life and haven't had to do, I guess those kinds of hard things mentally, going to the gym would be a perfect,
Perfect ideal for it. Yeah.
yeah, a perfect replacement for that, because it is hard and you have to force yourself, and there's a mental game to it, and you gotta do it.
Mm.
And you either do it or you don't. That's the key thing. It's
Yeah.
black and white. You either do it or you don't. There's no like, oh, I kind of half did it. It's like one or the other.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm probably a very unique individual in that case, that I'm physically very, um, uh, have very low natural abilities. And I'm not a sporty physical kind of person, but have just been drilled with hunting since
Mhm.
day dot.
Yeah.
So they're two interesting things to have happen in your life. Yeah.
And I think also
And
you've
it's
never
not a
been
normal.
held back physically because of your abilities either, though. Like, you've always been able to show up and do the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been held back. I've never
Mm.
had not once have I ever gone, fuck, I wish I had done some more time in the gym. Like
Yeah.
in my most desperate of moments in the most crazy hunts, I've never ever once gone, fuck, I wish I had done some more exercise. Not
Definitely.
once, not
Yeah.
even once,
Yeah.
not even thought about it. No, not
Actually,
once.
earlier this year, the Deuces boys did an event at Venture Hunting, and I went in and met a friend's friend who actually, we have worlds that cross from back in the music days, from when I used to tour in bands and stuff. We actually played together. He went on, and they've been touring for years and stuff, and he's not in the music industry anymore. Like, he's just given it all out, and he's very keen on getting into hunting. I said, man, if you can get yourself a bow and get yourself ready, like, I'll take you out for a hunt. And it turns out he lives like a block away from me. I gave him some meat just recently, and he's like, man, I've been running 4 times a week, just because of that one day where we met up, and like what the boys were saying, what they were talking about, plus what you were talking about with the hills and stuff. Like, it just made me realize that's the thing that I need to work on. I can't get up into the hillside and just be sitting down the bottom while you guys are up the top. He's like, it's just not going to work out. So he's like, that's been 3 months maybe. He's like, I started running, and it's been my one goal. And it's just kept me going, like building it up. He's like, I haven't even bought a bow yet. I just know that I have to get that part up first. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And it's sort of like it's almost the exact opposite of my situation. It's almost like a mirror image of mine. And not to say that one's right or wrong.
No.
They're just very different situations. And I take my hat off to him. He should be encouraged like that, to have that discipline and to properly be preparing. And I fantasize about that, mate. I honestly do. I fantasize about that, but that's something that's not in my realm. It's not it. And I know that probably sounds, you, I know this kind of like work you've done and the type of expertise you have. And hearing that from me, you probably just go, fuck, mate, like I can sort you out.
I don't, because
Fuck.
I honestly think that you've still got the capabilities to get you, like, you don't have the pain to have to change. So why would you?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You just said it in one sentence. That's exactly it. I haven't had the pain to make me change. For good, for better or for worse, I haven't.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened mentally and it hasn't happened physically. And therefore there hasn't been a change. I've just maintained the same. Yeah. And it's working, and I'm not going to fucking, why would you change it? Why would I change anything now? Yeah.
No, exactly. And for this guy, it's like he's come in from years of touring. He's put on a heap of weight. He's just like, I'm in a bad state. There's no way that I'm going to be able to come out there and do what you guys do. But it's something that's such a desire for me right now that it's going to be my motivator. I'm like, that's cool. That's great that you can take that and use
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Any motivation you can find, you know, like anything you can grab onto to give you that positive motivation. And yeah, like there's not a better one out there than wanting to, like, there's not a better motivation out there than someone in their life discovering bow hunting through something like your podcast and go, fuck, look at this. What's going on here?
What is this world?
To do this, I must be this, and I must, you know what I mean? Like I think that's great. I think that's a great, a great, source of inspiration, for anyone who's.
My whole mental persona around training has really changed as well. Like ever since getting into bow hunting, it's all about, okay, well, how can I make sure that I can walk a deer off the hills? Like that's literally my motivation now. And so I'm very disciplined. I go to the gym like most days, but my inspiration is, as long as I'm fit enough to get a deer off the hill, that's what I need. Like that's all I need to keep going. Yeah.
Hiluxes they're still making pretty good Hiluxes, I think.
Can't get the Hilux at Fjordland.
Yeah, Childlike country's a bit flatter than Red Deer country, mate. So
yeah, definitely.
It's like,
well, the question is in regards to, you've achieved all these things, and everyone always says that the journey is the part that we actually chase. What's been the aftermath of it? Has there been a thought, or is it the fact that bow hunting is just a part of your life and it's going to continue being a part, and it's just, hey, this is just another tick off in the journey?
Oh no. Yeah, you've really nailed some good questions tonight. Like you're certainly zoning in on what the really key elements to this are. So well done on that. And it's a really, like, we could have the whole conversation just about the emotions behind this part of it that you've just mentioned. It was one of the most interesting emotions I've ever felt. And as you probably realize, I've had some really crazy highs. Like I've had highs that you just can't even comprehend in bow hunting. Some of the moments that have happened in my life, you can't put into words. There's nothing that you can do to replicate that feeling. This one was really, really interesting in that I subconsciously knew that was the end of that particular journey. So while it was the emotion of holy fuck, wow, this is almost too good to be true, there was that bit, but at the same moment, there was also an element of you haven't got anywhere else to go now in this part of the world, and this journey's over. So this particular journey that you've been aiming for, and I think particularly when you think a journey is too hard to begin with, when you write something off as being too difficult to even accomplish, which I had for many, many years with completing the South Pacific Slam. When I was a young fella, I just didn't even, well, no one had done it to start with, so there wasn't even an aiming point. There wasn't someone you could idolize and go, oh, such and such. You know what I mean? There was no one that had actually done that, so there was no aiming point. And I think some of these species, I'd convinced myself that it was just not going to happen in my life, particularly the Wapiti. I think the main two would be the Wapiti and the whitetail. The Seeker, I kind of always had a feeling I'd have a go at one of them. Yeah, but the whitetail and the Wapiti were the two that I sort of thought,
Just
probably,
because of where they are and how rare it is to kind of come across them, or
yeah, a combination of looking at the data of everything that's happened before you, and looking at the data of how fucking difficult everything looks when you look at the current, when you look at the bush and the animals and whatever. So when only like I think only I only know of about 4 or 5 Wapiti being taken with a bow so far
yeah, it's
in
wild.
history. Yeah, so it's only a very small number. Whitetail, it's fairly similar, you know, like to get any kind of whitetail out of New Zealand with the bow, a doe or a buck, it's a major undertaking. And this, like, we had a great trip there a few years ago, and there's been a few good trips where a bunch of Aussies have gone over and done well, but it's only a very small number of, it's still only a very small number of Australian bow hunters that have taken a whitetail with a bow, and same for New Zealand bow hunters who live there.
Yeah.
Very small number of them have actually shot a whitetail. So yeah, I think that was, I think it was just too much to even, I think that it wasn't, to me, I think when I was younger, it was too unrealistic to even kind of think about.
Comprehend, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's this very slowly changing, things just slowly change over time, as they will for you and as they will for absolutely every one of us. What we think's achievable today is going to be a little bit different tomorrow, and it's going to be a little bit different the next day. And what's normal is going to be different tomorrow as what it was today. And I've just seen that slowly change over my whole life. Yeah. So, you know, I can remember a time when I was young looking at stories of Fjordland, just going, fuck that. I'm never going there. There's no way I'm even going to attempt that. Why would you even bother going there? Why would you even try? From that point to being there, and I'm here now, and this
living
is
it.
this
Yeah.
is happening. Yeah, so it's very that's a very, very, very slow and gradual change, and there's a slightly different relationship that you have with each of those different species that are on your list, and that might be your local area, then it might be Australia, then it might be the South Pacific, and then it's the world. So then there's the whole world and all these different places and species you can hunt and things you can attempt to do. And that all of those different categories just change over time. Yeah, and it was a little bit it was a little bit of an empty feeling, just a little, not empty, but a little bit, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Now.
yeah, and I've still got goals, like I've still got things that I want to do, and there's still hunts that I want to, there's still things that I want to achieve in bow hunting. But there's, and even within the South Pacific, I haven't got a good sounder stag, for example. I've got massive room for improvement in sambar deer, and like there's other, I'd like to shoot a true 100-point buff. I haven't got a 100-point buff yet. I've got a couple just under, but there's certain things there's certain animals that I want to hunt again, and possibly all of them I'll hunt again. But in terms of completing that collection, like going back to the Pokemon, you've caught them all.
Yeah.
It's killing caught them all. and yeah, it's a really strange feeling, mate. But I'll tell you what, there was a huge amount of positive, like I certainly celebrated. Like,
Yeah,
don't get me
good.
wrong, there was
Yeah.
certainly a lot of celebrations that came with this. It wasn't like I was just like, I'm depressed now that we certainly got pretty fucking loose after that. Like, yeah, like I had plenty to celebrate. Yeah, and I am now still celebrating.
Yeah,
Like,
so it should be. Yeah, definitely.
thinking about it every day, mate. Every
Yeah.
day. That was in, what are we in, June? Like, that was in
April.
late March, early April. And
Yeah.
every single day I'm going back, like when I'm at work or I'm just doing something really mundane, and I'm thinking back to our moments in Fjordland, and I'm just thanking my lucky stars because, yeah, I'm still celebrating now. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask, like, is the desire to still hunt in Australia? But you've already answered that as well. Like, it's all there. It's obviously, it's the continuation, isn't it? What about in regards to, you said you've still got other goals, bow hunting wise. What do you have overseas? What's kind of on the horizon, if any?
Yeah, well, just a quick version. I'm basically talking about catching them all.
Mhm.
I've got my heart very set on completing the Capra Slam, which is 12 different Capras, and I've got 10. So I've got
Yeah,
2
well,
to go. So 2 different goats. One of them will be the American mountain goat.
hmm
And I've got that booked in. I've just got to draw the tag. So I will apply next year, and I'll just keep applying until I draw that tag. That's in Alaska.
Yep.
So the American mountain goat will be one of those 2. And the other one, I'm still pinpointing. It's been a bit of a roller coaster lately, but yeah, I'm like I think we've talked about this before, but when it comes to capras and ovid species, like basically sheep and goats, there's only, you kind of narrowing down to, like, you can look at that whole list of animals and you can narrow down what's affordable for you and what's actually physically achievable.
Yeah.
And with sheep and goats, there's a lot that are just unaffordable, like all
Oh,
your
100%.
markhors and a lot of the sheep. They're just like, and some of the ibexes and stuff like, they're just, yeah, like normal people just can't.
You
It's just,
start at like
you've got to
50K
be,
USD, right?
yeah, you've got to be a
50,000.
millionaire really to
Yeah.
have a go. And then you look at what's physically achievable, and that narrows it. That cuts a few off the list as well. Like there are a lot of species that you might have to go back 10 or more times to get
Make it
one,
happen.
you know,
Yeah.
like, or it could happen the first time, but the chances are that you're not going to just go and get it done on the first hunt. So yeah, there's very few capras left on the list for me that are affordable and achievable. There's very,
Yeah.
very few. That list has been narrowed down to a very small list, and there's only about 2 or 3 that are hovering in that list, and I'm just narrowing down on them at the moment. Basically they boil down to either a Persian desert ibex in Iran, which is a relative of the Bezwar ibex, or the Sind ibex in Pakistan, which is, I guess, a distant relative as well, or the Cyan ibex in Russia. So those 3 ibexes, one of those will be a target. And then yeah, I want to hunt a Cape buffalo in Africa one day. I want
Yeah.
to hunt
Amazing.
a black bear. I never used to be very interested in bears, but I do want to hunt a black one day. I want to hunt a muley and a pronghorn in North America.
hmm
But yeah, the list that covers kind of most of it now. Like I'm hoping to get a PNG later this year for a trip over there for Rusa. But yeah, we're sort of getting to that point now where there's not many left on the list that, like, in terms of my list of things that I want to do overseas,
Yeah.
it's getting very small.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And we're getting to a point now where, yeah, I know that I'm going to get everything in that I've ever dreamed of.
hmm
And that's difficult to actually accept, to be honest, because you kind of remember the time when that list was not even
It's huge. Yeah.
worth dreaming about, not even
Yeah.
worth fucking considering. So it's a good, I guess it's a good bit of a inspiration, I guess, for others in that, if you dream, if you dare to dream, be ready for those things to actually fucking come to reality, because they do.
Mm.
And I'm not rich. I'm not a millionaire. I've got a good job, but I'm certainly not fucking rich. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth or anything like that. Dad was a farmer. Mum was an OT. We did it pretty hard when I was a kid, and I got educated and I've got a decent job, but
Yeah.
I'm not a spoiled brat.
But obviously, you
But
save well,
managed-
right? Like you set up.
No, didn't save well. Just spent it on fucking hunt.
No, I mean you save well between hunts.
Yeah, between for vaulting club. Yeah, but yeah, that just shows. Yeah, there is a remarkable man out there, and I could never. If you sat me down 15 years ago, what am I 40? If you sat me down when I was 25, even, and said, "Yep, this is what's going to happen," I would have just been like, "Fuck off! There's no way in the world. It's not even possible.
Yeah.
It's not even. It doesn't even calculate." But it just shows that it's amazing how if you've got the dream there, it's amazing how things have a way of manifesting over
Definitely.
time.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in a spot now, and I don't want to sound like a wanker, even though I probably will, but I'm sitting in a spot now. I'm 40. I'm 40 years old, and my feeling at the moment, and this is with all honesty, it's like I've been very lucky. I started very early, and I've lived an entire life of bow hunting, but I'm on the downhill run now at 40. Like I'm looking at the last things that I want to achieve, and all I'm looking at now is my son, and getting out with him as much as possible, and giving him what was gifted to me as a young fella. And I'm sort of at a stage now where I just don't really give a fuck what happens next, because I've done the things that I wanted to do. Yeah.
No, it doesn't make you sound like a wanker at all. It makes you sound like a dad.
Yeah, well, I'm not. Yeah, yeah. It's a very strange feeling to try to describe, because I don't know anyone that has this feeling to compare to. So I don't know. I can't talk to Dad about this, because he doesn't know what that's like. And it's an interesting emotion.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't feel as though my love for bow hunting is changing in any way. I think the way I approach trips is a little bit different, and the emotion that comes with each major trip is a little bit different to how it used to be. That there was a lot more emotion in the old days.
Yeah.
These days it feels more like there's still lots of emotion, but it's very it's more calculated and more.
Yeah.
There is a job to be done.
No, I can resonate with that. And I mean, it's only 6 years or so that I've been doing this, but it's like the further I get into it, the more I realize, like, the more calculated, and the job that has to be done only gets done when you are taking pressure off and actually just focusing. Like it is just such an interesting situation that I think most bow hunters could probably resonate to, or
the emotion these days for me is coming more from this might be a good way of putting it. The emotion that I have when it comes to these major trips is coming more from all the social things that happen on that trip, rather than me shooting a particular animal.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, you were like, when I had these, like, say if I had a particular goal to hunt a particular animal, my like, you were very focused on that whole experience, getting to that place, doing all the things that would take to get to that place, and to get a ticket of entry to have a go at that animal. And then the taking of that animal was the culmination of it all.
Yeah.
It was like the icing on the cake of the whole thing. These days, what I'm finding is the social interactions that happen on that particular hunt are becoming more of a trophy than the actual animal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So my memories of New Zealand, this last trip, the social things that happen before and after and during the trip, between my mate Craig and I and other characters that were involved in that story, are more of the special bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that's the more special part. And I think what that's going to change to is soon when Toby's able to find me around the bush, that's going to translate to my social interactions with him as a father and son team.
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining. And that's where it's heading at the moment. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I also think, like, going back to what you said earlier on, is essentially, as you continue on in life, your perspective changes. And so it wouldn't surprise me if new things do come up on the horizon of, oh, actually, that would be also a good thing to do. Or it's like, all right, let's go back and do the slam with Toby then. Make it all happen again. Yeah.
Who knows? It's a changing thing all the time. And it's hard to compare what we do to other kind of pursuits, but like, look at another thing that one of your mates might be into. Like, say, if one of your mates was into running, for example, like
Gay.
well, there's only like, if you look at the world of, if you're a really good runner, there's certain milestones that you can reach and achievements you can reach. So to me, the top of that would be winning gold in your event at the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's probably the upper, that's the ceiling that you can reach. You can't probably get any further than that. And there's a very set kind of, like there's a set number of different achievements or steps that go to that. But with hunting, it's just so multi-directional, isn't it? Like, it's just a fucking whole world. And there's just so many different levels and layers. Like, when you look at bow to rifle to this to that, to the differences in trophy size, to guided and unguided, to like the difficulty in different types of terrain and different countries, the different species. Like, there's just this endless. It's just fucking endless. What the goals that you can set yourself are virtually endless. And you can't even really quite get to the end of it all.
No, it's wild. As often my wife is like, we should move over to like Bali or something like that for a while. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you can bow hunt there. That dictates. That dictates so much of it for me.
Go and smash a few tang bantang in the rice.
Not sure I'll be loved by the local. That's hilarious.
It's interesting. Like, it's an endless. There's just endless pleasures out there and endless pieces of inspiration, and we would all have. There's a real personal element to it as well, because we all have different interests. You might have no interest whatsoever in going to Pakistan because you just don't like that place. You don't want to know about it. Whereas the next person might go, fuck, that's my dream to go to Pakistan and hunt there. There's just endless different iterations and different opportunities out there, and only even the richest multimillionaire guys who have tried to do this, like, none of them have ever got to the end point. Like, no one's ever got the gold medal, because I don't think it probably doesn't exist. You probably can never get there. You could fill up a whole lifetime and do every single thing in the world with a bow, and I just don't think you'd ever be able to quite get there, and probably no one ever will. So at the end of the day, it's about using that as a fuel for your own life, and that's certainly what I've done. That's been a major fuel for me in my lifetime so far, is using those opportunities as a real inspiration to get that assignment done, get that last shitty afternoon of work done, get that extra bit done at midnight that you don't feel like doing, whatever, like just putting in that putting in that effort at those appropriate times to give yourself that opportunity. You know, that's what's been a major driver over my life. So I think there's a lot to be said for working out what you really like, what you really love, and what you're interested in, and then using that to drive yourself.
Yeah, have it as fuel.
And use it as a fuel. Yeah, that's certainly how my life has panned out. And it wasn't by well, I don't know. Maybe it was by design. Maybe that's how it was. Maybe that's how I always wanted it to be. But yeah, that from as far back as I can remember, it was always what was the next thing that I could go and experience? What was the next thing that I hadn't already experienced that I could, that was within reach? And that's just the way life's panned out. Yeah. One after the other. And I didn't get married too early too. That was
Definitely.
Well, I did, but it just didn't last.
You knew that she wasn't on the same path. Yeah.
When there was mention of sheep, that's when things started to go into everything.
Who must spend me or the sheep?
That's horrible of me to laugh about this.
You know what? As long as you can, it's probably a better thing to laugh at it, because otherwise, what would you do, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Better way to look at it.
What a terrible human being.
Not at
But
all.
that's quite honestly how the way things panned out. Yeah, I was like, yep, that's what I want to do.
I think life has a way of doing that for us too. If you're willing to take the signs and chase after what you really want, then it will keep giving to you that way. Yeah.
It's interesting. It is very, very interesting. But you can't have everything. You know, you can't have everything. There's only so much we can fit into a day and a week and a month and a year, and our budget constraints. And we're still going to work. We're still going to be some kind of family member.
Figure out the priorities. Yeah.
Yeah, you've still got all these things you've got to do as a human. And there's a certain amount of space that's left over for something like bowhunting. Even though we say that our lives revolve around it and that it's our main passion or whatever we might want to say it, if you actually sat down and calculated it, it's only a very, very
small percentage,
minor and finite percentage of your actual life that you get to devote towards it.
Yeah. That's why I started a podcast, so I could talk about it. Just bring it into my life more.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking today, actually. I was driving around at work and I thought, fuck, Matty's probably not becoming a bow hunter anymore.
No, yeah. It's a bit more of a livelihood now.
For
a rebrand. Maybe it's such a good name, though. It keeps the people coming in.
Maybe it's time to change it to just being
a bow hunter.
Being a bow hunter.
That's maybe. Season 2. That's now.
No, I'm joking. No, you can't change it. You got to keep
yeah. It's too good of an attractant at the moment. Still brings in all the people who are thinking about it. So,
well, what's your vibe on that? That's an interesting thing for me to throw back on you as someone who's on the forefront of that side of things. Do you feel like the rate of growth is still the same as it was 3 or 4 years ago? Like, do you think things are still pumping and elevating at the same rate, or do you think we saw
in regards to seeing new people come into bow hunting, I think it's still on the continuous up. Like, I feel like in Australia, it's still a very young thing, and it's still got a lot of legs to grow and move on with. I still get messages probably weekly, every other week at least, of someone saying, man, I've just found your podcast. This is incredible. Like, it's given me so much insight. I've only just picked up a bow. This is like the perfect thing that I need, which is just so motivating to me every time I hear that. In regards to like my podcast and the growth that it's had, it's definitely been like, it was slow to grow, and then it skyrocketed at a certain point in time. And it's really kind of stayed around this, like my highest numbers has just stayed very consistent month after month. But I haven't seen like a massive drop. So I don't know, in that sense, like, it doesn't obviously seem to be growing bigger, But at the same time, I still haven't tapped into many of the markets, like the overseas markets. I don't even touch America yet, really. Like pretty much Australia, New Zealand is my listenership. And so in regards to that, it's still pretty crazy to think the numbers that you get listening to bow hunting. Like you're like, well, it's just this, there's such a little niche space, yet you can still yeah.
Oh, it was the perfect time. Yeah, it was meant to be. Like, well, I guess there wasn't many podcasts around there to begin with. Like around that time when you appeared, but yeah, it was the perfect time to do what you've done, and you've done it, and now you sort of we're a fair few years down the track now. Really, like it's been around for a long time now.
It's wild to me in thinking like, how much can you just talk about bow hunting? Yeah, I've got over 300 hours, I think, up online now of like these conversations. Every time I have a new conversation, you're like,
you haven't even,
it's endless. Exactly, it's endless.
You haven't even scratched the surface. Yeah.
No,
you haven't even scratched the surface. Yeah, and yeah, I think there was a real there was a real need for there was a real gap there, a real need to give it like to present things in that way towards people who were beginners or are beginners. That was not previously there. So yeah, like everyone's at a different stage, I guess, in their life and in their hunting life and whatever, and yeah, but I think there must be a fair percentage of bow hunters that listen to your show and get something out of it, and yeah, like there's no doubt that we've never seen a dramatic increase like we have in the last I'd say since COVID, I reckon, like
COVID. I think what Joe Rogan's done for bow hunting, like
big influence.
Cam Haines, even like the stuff that he's putting out now, I feel like just the rise of podcasts and YouTube has really helped bow hunting definitely to grow.
And by and large, it's mostly positive, eh? Like, like there's, like maybe I'm naive, but most of it's been very positive lately. There was a stage where there's a lot of negative stuff coming through the media, horses getting shot and
all the like wild stuff that happens. Yeah,
geese and wallabies and stuff. And there was a stage there, like 15 years ago, where there was quite a bit of repeated negative media, but it seems to have been mostly pretty positive lately, from what I've seen, apart from the whole South Australia thing. But,
talking to back to Roy from Fjordland, what they've done really well is talking more to the meat, the preserving of meat, the providing of it. I've actually got another interview this week with a lady, Ashley. No, what's her name? Thomasai. It's in the back of it's on the tip of my tongue. It might be. I'll find it in 2 seconds. But essentially, what I think she does a great job of doing is like showcasing all of living from the land, using the meat, using everything you've got access to. And I feel like that in general is what is going to be the savior of what we do. And the preserving of what we do. I don't know. Alicia Thomasai. But yeah, she does such a good job of that. And I'm like, really, I cook with wild game every single day, but I don't have the motivation to film it or like capture any of that. It's just my daily life. I'm like, this lady, she's doing such a good job of it. And what Roy was saying is like, that's really how we've saved a lot of what we're doing here in New Zealand and made it more topical for everyone to want to get into, of like, what do you mean you can provide all this meat and do this whole thing, this whole living thing, and do it much cheaper by getting into hunting? Maybe not, depending on how you look at it in regards to what you spend. There's $90,000 rifles you can go buy if you wanted to, but
the reality is, and I think you'll agree with me on this, I don't think you'll raise your eyebrows at me, but the reality is that this moment that we're in at the moment, like this particular phase that we're in, where hunting animals for meat is basically a novelty and is seen as a it's seen as unnecessary to begin with because we can go and get meat from supermarkets. So the vast majority of the population don't see it as a necessary thing to begin with, like on the very basis of whether it's actually needed or not. Because we can go to Woolies and we can go and buy our meat there, just like all the other normal people. So there's that part of it. There's the part of it that there's a big part of it is our history, like as humans. Like it's obviously something that we've done for so long. It can't be just ripped away from us all of a sudden, and we can't all be expected to just go back to normal and go and start playing rugby league or cricket or something like that and expect that to fill up the gap, because that might have worked for most of us, but it didn't for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But the third part to this, which I think you might question me, or you might think my thinking is a bit wild, but I'm deadly fucking serious when I say this, but the time is going to come where we're going to rely on it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that time's going to come way quicker than what we all are leading ourselves to believe.
I mean, we saw a snippet of it in COVID, right? Where the meat shelves were all empty. The eggs were all gone.
That was a drop in the ocean. This society that we live in is so fucking fragile, and we are living in absolute fairyland at the moment. We as a society in this country and this entire world are living in absolute fairyland. And there is going to come a really serious moment very soon where we go, oh my God, fuck, we don't have power. We don't have a fridge. We don't have credit cards. We don't have petrol.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 95 or probably I'd say 99% of the population is immediately dead because they don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know where to fucking start. They're dead and their genetics are not going to be passed on. And I'm not a prepper. I'm not a pessimist. My brain is starting to tell me, and it has done more in the last 10 or so years, that time is coming, and we are not very well aware of when it's coming. We don't know when it's coming, but I think it's going to be coming quicker than what we realize. And I'll make a pretty strong statement here, which not many people would have heard me say before, but I often feel guilty for not having more involvement in the likes of Blood Origins and not investing more of my personal time in protecting hunting and bow hunting in Australia and the world. And I think there is obviously a need to do that. We're being attacked from all angles at the moment. We've got all sorts of issues on our plate. No matter where you look at South Australia, you look at Africa, it doesn't matter where you look, there are challenges. There are attacks happening everywhere. But I've reached a point now in my life where I think, and I'm not kidding, man, and you can laugh if you want, but I think the time will come that I honestly think society will collapse before the time that bow hunting is at risk of being taken away from me. That's my thinking at the moment. I think I'm better off spending my time worrying about where I'm gonna get my arrows from, and what I'm gonna make my arrows from, and what I'm gonna have as materials to make things to hunt with, rather than protecting my right to hunt right now. That's where my head is at right now.
I definitely think a lot, like, especially, I was talking to you about this before the podcast, just my rage for government at the moment and the amount of shit, like our government is cooked here in Australia. It's ridiculous how much stuff they're trying to take. And I see it a lot as a control piece, like put the fear into people, take what we can from them, tax the hell out of them so they can't afford shit. And essentially then we own the people, we own the control essentially. And that's where I would see, like, at what point does there become a revolt and something where everyone does start pushing back, if ever, because you saw everyone bend over during COVID and just give up their rights. And so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with you in the I just don't see in the sense of like, where's the collapse come from? But I mean, pushing to green energy, to net zero, like to me, all of this, all the things that we're doing that are seen as like the green world and this thing that we're meant to be doing for the protection, I don't see that as being protection. I don't see it being as a savior to our world. I see it as being, yeah, the exact opposite and leading more towards what you're actually talking about there, Benny.
Yep. Yep. But I just, yeah, I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime. It might not, but it may not happen in my son's lifetime, but it's going to happen fairly soon. I think that I think this whole thing that we live in, so fragile, and we're so unaware of it because we're so used to being able to get in a car. We're used to switching the light switch on.
Convenience of life, yeah.
This level of convenience that we've got we've got ourselves to now is clearly unsustainable. The population's still growing. Like, it's just a matter of time. It doesn't make sense. Something has to
the point. Yeah.
Something has to break. And when it breaks, it's going to break pretty badly. And I don't think I'm going to have to be worrying about whether the government has written a law to say whether I'm allowed to hunt with a bow and arrow or not. I don't think that's going to be very important at that stage. Same as my credit card, same as whether or not I can get diesel for my ute, because there will be no fucking diesel. It will be just what's around you, what you can get access to, what tools you have, and it will come back to the basic laws of Mother Nature and life, which are reproduction, food, shelter, and survival. You know,
wouldn't it be wild to see how
things.
It would be so crazy to see like who does survive, right? And in this point in time, like I live in Brisbane, the amount of just people that have no idea, like they would just
can you imagine? My mates, I've got a lot of mates in Brisbane who are not hunters. So I've got most of my mates that aren't hunters happen to live in Brisbane, and they're from a totally different element of human life. They wouldn't be able to start a fucking fire.
No.
But I keep telling them, when shit hits the fan, you just get in your fucking car and drive up to Far North Queensland and do not look back. Just get up here, get up there, and the rest of them
together. Yeah.
You'll be right. You'll be okay. If you stay down there, you're fucking dead really quick, because that place is going to turn into we talk about zombies, like they won't be zombies.
It will just be the people desperate.
Too far off.
You see how they act over toilet paper, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect indicator right there.
That's ridiculous.
That is where we are at. That is where we are at. That's the perfect indicator. When things get a little bit difficult, that's the thing that sells out, toilet paper. I'll leave it at that. That's all.
It's just
we need a fucking
the perfect proof element.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
But anyway, yeah. At the end of the day, mate, like we spoke about before we started recording stuff, like, yeah, how seriously do you take all this? You know, like how.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If you get stuck in the loop, the negativity loop, it's just gonna curse your day. Like, why bother? I spent a day just fucking scrolling Instagram news feeds the other day. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Like, I got so angry. Next to no work done. And I was like, nah, you got to put it in a jail. So literally my phone stays out of my office every day now. I'm like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, it's just,
it's designed to trap you, I reckon. That's the way. That's why we have such a great time when we go out bow hunting, because you put the damn things down, you escape from everything, and you just get to go back to the necessities of life. It's like, the essence of it.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's what we're meant to do. That's what we were meant to do, and it's what we will do again. We will do it again, because I can guarantee when shit hits the fan, gunpowder will run out a lot quicker. Than
everything's going to
go. Something to make an arrow out of. Fuck, I'll make arrows out of bamboo if I need to. Like, they'll still hit occasionally. Like, they'll still occasionally. They'll still be.
We'll be lighting fires and straightening wood over the top of it.
Yeah. I've got plenty of bamboo up there. Yeah, like, we'll be able to fashion some sort of thing. Yeah, but anyway, mate, I didn't want to.
No, it's fine. It's always interesting, like that stuff in general. It's like, hey, who is thinking ahead? It is
Well,
actually
this is
taking
where my mind wanders every day. Yeah, there. This is where I go every day.
the insights of
I
Benny.
just look
Yeah.
around. I look around at what's happening on social media. I look around at what's happening in the corporate world at work, and I look around and I just go, "Fuck, this is just
How did we get
this.
here? Yeah.
How did we get here? And what's next? And how am I expected to take any of this shit seriously? Like even for one moment."
Yeah.
That's how I face every day. Yeah, I can't take any of it seriously. It is just a massive fucking circus. And where I see things working really well is in nature. When I go hunting and I see deer, just doing their thing, feeding in a paddock, and one's looking up every now and then to see if anything's coming, and some might be playing or fighting or something. Like that's where I see everything happening as it should.
Yeah.
And I'm observing things happening in nature. That's to me how it was supposed to be. And yeah, something went wrong with us. Yeah.
It's back to the basics. Well, no, I agree. And yeah, I mean, it's probably a good place to wrap it anyway. We've been going for a good few hours, and I love your work. You're very inspirational of what you've achieved. I think it's really cool to see what is out there and what is available for us, but also just you're very humble about it, which is awesome. Like it hasn't been I don't think it's ever been an actively outward motion that everyone had to see. It was, I'm doing this for me because it's what I want to do. And I think that's the best way to go about it. And it's, yeah, it's just how bow hunting should be, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what I hope for. And yeah, I think all of us have got to take a step back sometimes. Probably it doesn't matter whether you're a bow hunter or not or whatever you are, but I think you've got to take a step back sometimes and go, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? What is this? What is the greater cause, and what is the real true what is the true force behind what I'm doing here? And yeah, like I think in our community in Australia that could be useful at certain times. To just to take that step back. And at the end of the day, like I've said it a million times before, but yeah, hunting. I shouldn't say bow hunting. Hunting is an individual pursuit by default, like by definition. You can't compare anything to anything whatsoever. You can compare it to animals. You can shoot a 28-point boar and I can shoot a 27.5-point boar and go, oh, that one's half an inch in total bigger than that one. Okay, that's awesome. Great. But there's no other method of comparison at any level whatsoever. Yeah, I think like at the end of the day, if there's anything that you're doing in hunting that's not for you or for your immediate family, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
You've
Cross
lost
your paths.
You've been a bit too influenced by characters in social media, or you've just lost, you've come adrift a little bit somewhere along the way, and you're now on a bit of a weird path, and you will be judged on that too.
Yeah, and it'll be also the thing that makes you put it down, even if you don't necessarily want to, right?
Yeah.
It's the thing that disconnects you from why you're really doing it. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but no, mate.
Yeah, appreciate you, Benny. It's always good.
Are you doing your roost trip or what? What's going on there?
No, I talked to you offline about it.
All right, no worries, brother. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's every chance we might catch up for a beer finally.
Mate, yeah. I can't wait.
We'll see
what happens.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Thanks, Benny.
All right, brother. Good to talk.